Live on CBC, Hockey Night in Canada, brought to you by Ford Motor Company on behalf of your Ford and Mercury dealers from coast to coast. The Bank of Nova Scotia with nearly 1,000 branches across Canada to serve you. Canadian General Electric, progress for people since 1882. And by Molson, Canada's name in beer since 1786. Brewers of Molson Export Ale.
This is Montreal, where it's been very warm for May today, and where tonight the New York Rangers will try to continue their winning ways on the trail to the Stanley Cup. Tonight, it's Game 2 of the final series. Sunday in the opener, the Rangers shocked the defending champion Canadiens and their home fans. In the first period, they took a 1-0 lead on that power play goal by Steve Vickers on a pass from Anders Hedberg. And then Ron Greschner converted a Montreal turnover. A great shot just inside the post makes it 2-0 New York. In the second period, still 2-0 Rangers. The Canadiens get to within a goal on this play as Guy Lafleur scores on a shot from the right wing. But the Rangers regain a 2-goal lead on another power play as once more the Canadiens fail in an attempt to clear the puck. Phil Esposito does the scoring, and New York leads 3-1. Still in the second period, in the play that clinched the victory for the Rangers, the Canadiens are on a power play. New York's defenders break away, and team captain Dave Maloney beats Ken Dryden. The Rangers go on to win by that margin, 4-1. Tonight, Game 2, as the Canadiens try to even the series before the team switch to New York for Game 3 on Thursday. Good evening, everyone. This is Dick Irvin speaking to you from the Forum in Montreal, where we are set for Game 2 of what should be a fine Stanley Cup final series. This marks the first time that this current edition of the Montreal Canadiens has been behind in a final series through the past 4 years. A visiting team starting a series knows they have to win just once on the road if they intend to go on to potential victory. The Rangers got rid of that particular obstacle with that convincing win on Sunday. And also here tonight, another first, if you will. Ken Dryden, for the first time that he has been in uniform for the Montreal Canadiens, dating back to 1971, will be the backup goaltender. Michel Bunny Larocque, who played the third period on Sunday, will start for Montreal. As far as our broadcast team is concerned, I can tell you that our lineup is ready. Danny Gallivan, the television voice of the Canadiens, is off the sick list, and he is back in action for tonight. Dan Kelly, the voice of NHL 79 TV network, is also with us, and we're pleased again to welcome former NHL player Jerry Pinder as our guest commentator on the show. Well, over the past 48 hours here in Montreal, the theories and the predictions have been rampant, and those of us on the telecast crew have been right in there with everybody else. And right now, Dan and Jerry are standing by at ice level with some pregame thoughts of their own as we get set for Game 2.
Thanks, Dick. Jerry, according to both Scotty Bowman and Fred Shero, the story of Game 1 was the Rangers' ability to get in on top of the Canadiens. How do the Canadiens try and get away from that tonight?
Well, it's going to be very difficult. It's a good strategy employed by Shero, and it's the same strategy that the Flyers used to beat the Bruins when they won their first Stanley Cup against Bobby Orr. They're trying to tire out Savard and Robinson. If I was Montreal, I'd move the puck up very quickly. This is what they're famous for. I'd also move the puck over to Engblom and let him do some of the carrying. He's proven he can do it.
How about the goaltending change, Larocque for Dryden? What will that do to the Canadiens?
Well, I think it's going to tighten them up defensively. I think the whole team feels that that's what they need, and maybe they're going to help Larocque out a little more than they'd help out Dryden.
That's Jerry Pinder, our guest commentator, and now back again to Dick Irvin.
Well, there's no doubt that the surprising Rangers have everybody talking. They had the Canadiens talking to themselves after their win here on Sunday, a victory that has set the stage very nicely for what should be quite a battle in Game 2 here tonight. Our Stanley Cup playoff coverage will continue in just a moment.
Here's some good news. Look at the great values in this newspaper ad. The Mercury Men's $5,700 countdown. 6 great cars priced under $5,700. The sassy, classy Bobcat. Good-looking Zephyr. Monarch, a proven favorite. Ride on with Capri. Zephyr Z7 puts a charge in your life. And super little Fiesta. Check out the good values and get the details at your Mercury dealers today. See what they can do for you for under $5,700. It's the Mercury dealers' $5,700 countdown.
Sign. Now, from Braun into the domain of the rotary shaver comes the new Braun Micron. Look, this is the shaving area of the rotary head. The Braun Micron foil is 30% thinner for a closer, cleaner shave. The thinner the foil, the closer Braun shaves. Our design is to shave you closer than the rotary. The new Braun Micron.
This is Dick Irvin in the broadcast booth with Danny Gallivan, Jerry Pinder, and Dan Kelly, and we ask you now to cancel previous memo. There is Ken Dryden, and he will start tonight's game because Bunny LaRocque was injured in the pregame warm-up. Just as the warm-up was coming to a conclusion, LaRocque was struck on the mask by a shot fired his way by teammate Doug Reichsbrow. LaRocque went down on the ice, was down for a considerable amount of time. The doctor came out, he went to the dressing room, and within the last minute, Scotty Bowman has just informed the official scorer and the officials all concerned that he has had to make a lineup change. So, 60 seconds ago, approximately, Ken Dryden became the Canadiens' starting goaltender. LaRocque not only is out of the starting lineup, he is out of the lineup totally, and Richard Sevigny, who played this year for the Nova Scotia Voyageurs, is going to be the backup goaltender. So Danny Gallivan, quite a dramatic turn here, as Scotty was trying some coaching strategy to put in LaRocque.
I noticed when it happened, he was hit under the heart prior to that, and then a booming blast by Reichsbrow got him on the forehead.
L'hymne national américain du Haut-Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, would you now rise and sing along with Mr. Haji Doucette, the National American Anthem and the O-Canada.
Stars through the perilous fight.
officials for the second game of the series. Dave Newell has just vacated his spot. My gosh, they're elusive. Get in there and we'll pick him up. There's D'Amico on the right wing. And Newell at center. On the left side, Ron Finn. Myers and Bayshore are the backup men. We'll get a look at the goalies. The mighty man from Manhattan in a hockey sense. 14 games, average 1.68. And an unexpected starter. That seems odd that we should say that, but he is. Ken Dryden, 2.75. 11 and 2/3 games. So we have for the Rangers, Tkachuk going to center, number 18. And what a magnificent star he has been. He's been a star among the first three in the last 6 consecutive games. Now it's Savard. Savard in his own zone to Robinson. He headmans it over on the right side. Ray-Jean couldn't get anywhere against Vickers. Now a long pass to center and it's gobbled up by Gainey. Hedberg doing the checking. Vickers flicking it in there. And Robinson in to cover up against Tkachuk. Along the boards, the Rangers trying to get possession. It comes loose and here's Gainey. Gainey breaking down. Takes the long shot and a split save. And the tremendous reflex action which has stood Davidson in such good stead throughout the entire playoffs. You had an exemplification of it there. There's a pass back in front. Dave Maloney cleared it into the center ice area. Now the puck is loose. Coming in on the right side. Vickers over it goes. Hedberg ducks to the right. Scores! Hedberg! Quick. Oh, don't I love that wrist shot.
I'll tell you, the Rangers have made good use of it. Jerry, that was just a tremendous play by Hedberg.
Well, he scored so many goals in the WHA this week. He has a tremendous wrist shot, and one of the biggest assets he has, he gets it away so quickly. I don't believe Dryden was even set. And one of the Canadians had a shot at him, and he moved around that Canadian, and the shot was gone. Dryden really didn't have much chance on the play.
Well, maybe he was the Canadian. Scotty Bowman talking to Ray-Jean Uhl. And here's another look at it.
Gainey gets a shot at him, Dick. And see how quickly that wrist shot's away. Dryden's down a little bit trying to see the puck, but he really didn't have a chance.
So the Rangers have gone ahead 1-0. Puck is over the boards. The announcement being made on the goal, Hedberg from Vickers, and the time 1:02 into the opening period.
There's a shot of Big John Davidson, and I was talking to him earlier just before the game, and he's just brimming with confidence, and that's one of the big factors that a young goalie like Davidson has to have. The more confident he is, the better he's going to play.
Now McEwen on the left side for New York, fires it in. There's Duguay. Canadians getting it. Englund clearing it to the right side. Here is Tremblay snapping it into the corner, barging in. Lambert takes the shot. Marois deflected it with his stick.
Tony Larocque, who was scheduled to start for the Canadiens tonight, has been taken to hospital. This is Richard Sevigny, who hurriedly got into his goaltender's uniform and is the backup to Ken Dryden. He served in that capacity for 3 or 4 games during the regular season this year while Dryden was injured. Larocque has gone to hospital, suspected concussion as a result of the injury just at the end of the pregame warm-up as we look again at the goal by Hedberg.
Well, you can see on that replay, Dick, that Dryden really wasn't ready for the shot, and I just wonder how much effect it's had on Dryden.
Montreal, everybody out. Marois behind the net to the far side. Lambert kicked it to the corner. McEwen jostling with Lambert. Tremblay going in against Sheehan. So they're going to face off again in New York territory.
Yeah, what a story Bobby Sheehan has been. You've run into him, haven't you, Jerry, along the way in your hockey career?
Yes, Bobby and I played together for the California Golden Seals. And again, I was talking to him before the game, and he's very excited about being back up in the big leagues. He's had a couple of up and down years, and he said he's starting to pay a little more attention to hockey and a little less attention to off-ice activities.
You sure it's the same guy?
So, Canadians, everybody up. Shots backhander, a weak one is blocked. Now it's back to Chartrand, the big defenseman. There's a shot. That hop in there. Loose puck. Another shot. Another shot. And it's held out. Frantic activity around that New York Ranger goal. And in there helping out behind Davidson was Breshner.
Boy, Lafleur had the open side. I couldn't believe it, Jerry. He put the puck right back into the pile of players.
Well, let's watch this replay. When the puck does finally come out to Lafleur after Lemaire and Shutt have a chance, he's so surprised that he isn't ready. See this? He's standing there looking the other way.
New York Rangers ahead of Montreal 1-0. Esposito clearing it up on the left side. Rangers getting rid of it. There is Chartres. Wheels it to the right side. Esposito shooting it in. Robinson took a look at Maloney. Here's the lead pass to Lemaire. Lemaire is going right in to go. He shoots and he lost it. Lemaire lost it going in there against Davidson. And the Canadiens stymied on an excellent scoring opportunity. Maloney against Chartres. Lafleur trying to get it loose. How about that?
The Rangers lead the Canadiens 1-0 from the Forum in Montreal. This is Stanley Cup 79.
This is Varipel. With the exclusive Envirosol system, the exterior wood preservative that's so effective, you can think of it as wood insurance. Watch, we soak 2 pieces of wood in water for 24 hours. Then we bake them at 225 degrees for 1 hour. After all this, the wood treated with Varipel is still protected. Protect your investment. Get Varipel and get yourself some wood insurance.
Flecto, when you want to do it right.
Jerry, a breakaway for Jacques Lemaire.
Well, he tries to deep Davidson, and this is what's been keeping the Rangers in all through the playoffs. This guy has played phenomenal. And
now here's Savard shooting it, and it's blocked. On the right side, Plante clearing it into the corner. Johnstone against Savard. Here's Nilsson trying to lug it out from the corner. Rangers are in there. Nilsson twisting and turning. It comes to the side. Savard after it against Johnstone. Now Gainey on the left side. He had to get rid of it with the Rangers up there on top of the Canadiens. Maloney into the corner, lost it. It's centered. Picked off by New York. And Plante knocked it to center. Savard ripped it back in on the right wing glass. Mondu is coming from one side. Gainey in behind the net, and the Rangers again get it into the center ice area. New York won. Montreal no score. Mondu lost it. Here's Johnstone. Ahead to Plante. Plante stopping against Lupien. Shoots it in. Gainey in there. He takes a look at Johnstone. Mondu trying to get on track. Trying to get some skating room. Gets it out. The Rangers stop it. Now it's at center. Napier is over the line. Napier spins around. Getting set. Taken out of the play by Plante. Now the Rangers back. There's Hedberg with that head fake on the backhand. Taken on the play by Lupien. Engblom on the boards. Lambert propels it to center to Risebrow. Risebrow. Back it goes to Trombley. Trombley cutting in. He fired it. And it hit Maloney's leg. Now Kachuk back. The pass goes to Hedberg. Hedberg on the left side. Vickers shooting it. Dryden stopping it. Now the Canadiens try to get that pass to Trombley. It went off him. The fans very early getting on Dryden as a result of that goal. Here's Kachuk taking a shot. Good defensive play by Engblom. Langway and Kachuk started a shove.
There's Savard on the Canadiens bench. You know, Jerry, some goaltenders, and everybody talks about Cheevers in this regard, don't warm up all that much, but the Canadiens have 2 goaltenders who do like to warm up a lot. So, obviously, tonight it was Bunny Larocque who got the fair share of it, so Dryden's in quite a spot. He was in the news today, story that he's thinking of going to Europe. There is Harold Ballard and King Clancy. Boy, I tell you, they are the greatest fans everywhere the Stanley Cup playoffs go once the Leafs are eliminated. Why, there they are. They'd like to be around in Maple Leaf Gardens some year in a final series. Boy, they are faithful.
The great ambassadors. We've called them that for years now. 15:39 left in this, the opening period. 1-0 for New York. On the Hedberg goal, their productivity is 500. They are 1 for 2. 2 shots, 1 goal. Here's Gainey speeding in. Takes the shot around the net. Réjean Houle tipping it behind. Houle is around the net. Here's Houle dancing on the boards to Gainey. Gainey getting it in front. It's cleared to the side of the net. Canadiens with pressure here. Now behind the net again is Réjean Houle. Greshner is trying to tie him up. Here's Doug Jarvis. Jarvis getting set. Back it comes Langway. Working into the corner for Montreal. There's a shot by Uhl, and he ripped that one wide. Puck comes through center, and we're going to have penalties here. Will it be Davidson or Jarvis? Or who is it there? McEwen. They'll pick him out.
Well, Lucky Jarvis was the Canadian player involved, and it all happened away from the play. He heads to the penalty box, and apparently a Ranger's going to go with him. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Well, we finished most of Charlie's season.
Hey, come on over to our place. Dad's got a few beer on ice.
Sounds great.
For years, the folks around these parts have given the guy a hand and shared a little Molson Export Ale.
Listen, I called the girls to come over for supper.
Terrific. That means we leave the tractors here for the...
How's that leg, Charlie?
Oh, it's getting along. Say, I sure do owe you guys a vote of thanks.
Hey, what are friends for, eh, Charlie?
Molson Export Ale. It keeps on tasting great.
Canadians' Doug Jarvis has drawn one of his infrequent penalties. Here you see the shot by Uhl just missing on the short side, and Davidson and Jarvis involved, and they have both been penalized, so the teams will play 5 aside.
Sheehan is sitting out the penalty for Davidson. Here's Vadnais. Back to Dave Maloney. Kachuk played it up on the wing, and Big Robinson is on for Montreal, shooting it in, and it's called on the offside. There's a big sports event scheduled for Winnipeg on June the 17th. It's the Manitoba Marathon. 8,000 will take place and compete in it, and John Ferguson and several members of the Jets will be there. I don't think they'll be competing, but their presence will mean an added touch of class. Right, Fergie? I knew you'd agree with me. The proceeds for retarded children. That's the important thing. June 17th. Now puck into the center ice area. Vadnais, the veteran, having a great playoff. Edberg almost hit Kachuk. Savard on the right side to Mondeau. He nimbly gets it out on the right side. Lambert coming in over the line. There's the shot. And Davidson gave some indication there that they had trouble, but it didn't look to be that tough a shot. Over the line, a drop pass goes to Hedberg. Over on the other side. Here's Maloney going in into the corner, and Savard around the net. Savard ahead to Lambert. Lambert looks over on the far right wing, and Lambert is offside.
In that first game, Dick, the Rangers were bunching up around John Davidson. A lot of the Montreal shots weren't getting through. And this is a big help to a goaltender as well. But if the Canadians do catch on, they'll pass the puck around a few of these guys, and it's going to be very important that Davidson, there's a shot of Pat Hickey, the fine Ranger left winger there, who was supposed to be earlier in the season, Dick, on that big line with Nielsen and Hedberg, which has been broken up since Nielsen's injury.
Over the line, Hickey. Duguay got that pass caught up in his skates, but these two Rangers moved in there very quickly. To the left side, McEwen firing it back. Here's Duguay getting set. Scores! And the Rangers lead it 2-0.
And again, the Montreal Canadiens simply pass the puck onto the stick of the New York Ranger inside their own blue line. Jerry, it happened in 3 of the 4 goals on Sunday, and here it happens right now to make it 2-0 New York.
Well, watch, Langway goes down, and so does Engblom, and they screen Dryden. It's very hard to fault the goalie, but you got to fault the Montreal Canadiens for giving away the puck. And the New York Rangers have enough scoring power now that you can't give it up very many times, or you're going to lose the hockey game.
Here's the announcement on the goal. Lafleur coming back in over the line. Gives it to Engblom. Engblom to the other side. Into the corner. There's a shot from an almost impossible angle by Lemaire. He took a swipe at Marois. Here's Duguay with his hustle. Comes into the center ice area at the line. Over the line. Dropping it back to McEwen. A shot. And the fans now really get on Dryden. As they did in Sunday's game, the Rangers off to an early 2-0 lead. Now Langway makes that move on the right side. Pass over to Lafleur. Bad pass. Cleared out by Murdoch down on the right side. Here's Bobby Sheen going in. Backhand shot. And it's called on the offside.
Well, the Rangers have had just 4 shots. They are still batting .500 because this is their second goal. And the puck went through Dryden's legs as it skidded underneath Engblom and Langway, as Jerry pointed out, who were trying to cover up in front of the Montreal goaltender. 2-0 Rangers.
At this point, you know, the Canadiens have won 3 Stanley Cups in a row, and if any team should have the poise in a situation like this, it has to be the Montreal Canadiens. And in order for them to win, they're going to have to show a lot of poise now. They're down 2-0 to a good hockey club.
Well, that bench over there looks a bit dispirited as early as this in the series and in the game. There's Napier. Again, that shot is from the almost impossible angle. Ray-Jean Houle, he has had the best scoring opportunity, with the exception of Lemaire, who got in there, but really didn't have a great chance to score because he tried to deke and lost it against Davidson.
Now, the Canadiens have had so many chances like that against the Bruins. They had them, they didn't score. I think they're trying to be too fancy. They just fire the puck. Ron Greshner fired it the other day, as you saw off the top of the show, to give the Rangers the 2-0 lead with a great shot in the first period.
There is only one absolutely must-win game. That's the final game of any series. But as far as the Montreal Canadiens are concerned, and they made no bones about it tonight, they consider this game tonight a must game. They do not want to go to New York. That is the Square Garden down 2. They're down 1 game and down 2 goals in the second right now. Vadnais cleared it ahead. Here's Murdoch winding up, and he fired it, and Dryden deflected it over the glass.
Well, if you just joined us, again, the story on Michel Larocque, who was to have started for Montreal in goal. He was injured in the pregame warm-up. He has been taken to hospital with suspected concussion. He is there now for x-rays, and Dryden is the starting goaltender. Don Murdoch, number 14.
There's that last shot by Murdoch, and he's a good goal scorer. He can really fire the puck.
Now Robinson ahead on the right side. Look at that checking by the Rangers. Lafleur couldn't move even a half stride. Esposito, Murdoch, and Don Maloney up there forechecking. Now Lemaire starts out, gives it on the right side to Lafleur. Lafleur trying to pass it back. Greshner takes over. He loses it. Lafleur getting it to Lemaire, out to shot, and he was tied up before he could get a shot away. Murdoch got a high stick from shot. Now it's Vadnais coming down. Murdoch was checking on shot, and he got the stick up in the facial area.
This is Stanley Cup 79 from the Forum in Montreal.
Nobody!
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 Nobody can do it like McDonald's can.
Nobody!
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 else in this whole land.
Nobody!
Nobody else has the taste of a Big Mac.
Nobody!
Everybody always knew it.
Say nobody.
Can do it like McDonald's can.
Nobody!
Since 1973, the Stanley Cup has been won by either Scotty Bowman or Fred Shero from a coaching standpoint. And obviously that trend will continue through 79. Right now, Mr. Shero has a big edge, certainly in this game.
Nilsson, number 11, working back into condition in a determined and deliberate policy by Shero. He's out there now. Now Plante is bumped behind the net. It goes. Johnstone tried to get it. Savard playing with a temperature of 102. Has the flu. Pass goes on the right side. It's centered right in front. They score!
Now, Jerry, the Canadiens needed help. They get a very lucky goal.
Boy, did they ever. Tremblay just fires the puck in front of the net with nothing else to do. Lambert's almost passing, and I believe it hits his skates and through Davidson's legs. But previous to this, it's too bad for Davidson, because previous to this, he has made 3 or 4 sensational saves in this game, and only 10 minutes gone in the first period.
I thought it went out of Marois' stick, the final analysis. Hard to tell from that back of the net shot, but it's into the net, so it's 2-1 New York.
Marois fires it. It goes over the corner glass. 11:16 left in the opening period. Here's the announcement on the goal.
By number 14, Mario Tremblay.
Now, Tremblay gets credit for the goal. The ruling is it hit a Ranger player and did not touch Lambert in front. Or they can't see the puck in this replay too well.
Bryce Brown. À 8 minutes, 34 secondes, at 8 minutes and 34 seconds.
Now the puck knocked down by Lupien. He cleared it in on the move, number 14, Tremblay. He's going in there. Took his man down, now bumping back. A lot of vigorous action there. Lambert goes after Nilsson, number 11. Players get in there quickly. The quarters are close, and I would think, and we hope so, that that will be the end. Maybe not. Risebrough having words and exchanging light left jabs with a Ranger player, and I think that's number 17, John Stone.
Normally, you're going to see the opposing teams who play against Montreal trying to slow them down with the body, but in this particular game, the first 10 minutes of it, it appears that Montreal's trying to slow down New York with the body.
With the score, the New York Rangers 2, the Canadiens 1. This is Stanley Cup 79.
I guess what offends me most about what the Prime Minister's been doing is that he's been going out and saying, lower your expectations. We can't really do any better in this country. Canadians know that's not true. Canadians know that there's a great deal that we can do here, and that indeed, if there's any country in the world that can do better than others, it's Canada. And they know that the fault for not doing better doesn't lie with them, doesn't lie with the country, it lies with the government.
On May 22nd, vote Progressive Conservative. Give the future a chance.
2 minutes pour Rudess.
Call against the Rangers' Dave Maloney and the Canadiens' Yvon Lambert for that scuffle in the corner. Teams will play 5 aside.
Face off to the left of Davidson. Now into the center ice area, Marois. He clears it in. Kachuk following in with Vickers. Vickers is on it back to the point to McEwen. There's a low shot wide. Canadians Gainey trying to get some skating room. Cleared it over to Engblom. Into the center ice area. The Rangers on it again. McEwen is spun around by Gainey. Marois ad-libs his way in on the right side, puts on the brakes, and he loses it. Canadians Langley ahead on the left side of Jarvis. A drop pass to Langley. Good shot, and he blasted that one wide. Rangers coming back into the center ice area. Vickers having difficulty getting up a foot, full head of steam. Now the Canadians, Langley ahead to Jarvis. He got rid of it, and that's the signal for Montreal to make changes while the play goes on. 1 minute exactly left in the penalties. Dave Maloney and Lambert. Now over on the other side is Napier. McEwen is after him. McEwen along the boards. And Vadnais. Vadnais turning to shake off Fondue. Vadnais with that great head fake and a splendid move to get away from Napier. Now he just gets rid of it into the corner. Rangers decide that they want to make changes. Robinson passing it off. Chartrand clearing it. It's to a Ranger inadvertently, and the Rangers take over. Hedberg to the other side to Nilsson over the line. Off is taken another souvenir.
Danny, it looks like the Rangers are just employing the same strategies they did in the first game. Every time they get the puck over the red line, they're dumping it into Robinson's corner. They want him to turn around, skate back, pick up the puck, and work. He's a tired hockey player right now. The strategy for New York is very sound. But again, if Montreal's skating, I think they can overcome it.
Well, the Rangers, you know, they get up there and they move in, and you try to get some skating room, and it just isn't there. You got to get rid of it. Robinson had to get rid of it there to Chartrand. Chartrand had to get rid of it, and when you're pressed, what happens? Bad passes.
Well, that's right. The more they press it, the more they're going to give the puck up.
Very suffocating.
For us, it is.
Come up here. Now, Rangers trying to get it. Here's Robinson to Lafleur. Lafleur at center on the right wing, a drop pass to Lemaire. Lafleur going behind the net, taken into the boards by Greshner. Nielsen is in there to help out. Off the bench comes Schutt. Schutt stops it. Here's Schutt making a move, and he lost it. Dave Maloney along the boards. After him is Schutt. Robinson couldn't hold it in. Now Lafleur. Pass goes off the skate of Lemaire. Rangers coming out, and they lose it. They ran into some very quick checking that time, flashed it by Schutt of Montreal. Here come the Rangers. Hedberg dropping it back. Nilsson winds up with a shot. Dryden, high catch, and he holds on.
Well, the teams are 8 minutes and 22 seconds away from the end of the first period. And in our first intermission, I'll be chatting with the Canadiens' Bob Gainey and with NHL referee-in-chief Scotty Morrison. And Dan Kelly and Jerry Pinder will be reviewing this first period and looking at some of the highlights. All that coming up during our first intermission.
Lining up for the face-off to the right of Dryden. The shots on goal at this juncture in the game with 8:22 left in the first period. Montreal 8, New York 6. Rangers leading by 1. 2-1. Savard ahead. Lambert deflected it. Marois pass intercepted. Lambert couldn't pick up the Tremblay pass. Marois clearing it. Here is Sheehan hopping into the center ice area. Good play to Duguay, but it's all for naught. Offside.
The Montreal Canadiens hope to defeat this strategy of Fred Shearo's. I think Scotty Bowman is going about it the right way. He's using all his defensemen, Danny. He's using Lupien and Chartrand back there as well as Langway. And that in the third period, that gives guys like Robinson and Savard a little more zip.
Now McEwen. Marois, long pass in over the line. A Hickey, and that's an offside. 7:54 left in this first period. The resurgence of the New York Rangers with their brilliant and exciting play in the New York area has catapulted the Rangers into top-notch media coverage. And they're in an area of coverage media-wise comparable to that generally reserved for baseball, football, and basketball. So hockey is currently experiencing its finest hour in Manhattan. So you got the announcement there. Lambert getting the goal. Rysbrough and Tremblay assisting. Now it's Schutt picking his way. Schutt stays with it over the line. Lafleur to Schutt to Lemaire. He takes his. They score! Lafleur.
Jerry, you pointed out earlier that a key to the Rangers in that first game was the way they covered up in front of Davidson, got rid of the puck. But that's one time when they couldn't find it, and the Canadiens just hung tough and scored the goal.
No, that's right. And watch this. Here the defenseman, really the New York defenseman, the puck goes through his legs, and it's not entirely his fault, but there was 3 Montreal Canadiens converging on the net, Dick, and that's what gets you goals. And when those 3 are Lemaire, Schutt, and Lafleur, it's awfully tough to stop them.
2-2. Game's tied.
Jacques Lemaire, and by number 22, and also by number 22, Steve Schutt.
Lemaire and Schutt assisting on the tying goal by Lafleur. Canadiens move to the attack again. Now it's Lafleur. Lafleur getting set. And a penalty coming up against the New York Rangers. Dryden strides to the Canadiens bench. And a penalty being assessed by Newell.
This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Did you see that catch? I think you ought to sign me up.
What would you have done with the line drive?
I would have caught it.
For years now, Greg and the guys have been baseball fans and fans of Molson Export.
Oh, that's right.
That could use you in the outfield.
The time is right. Your friends are here. You couldn't ask for a better beer. Export keeps on tasting great when the time is right for great beer.
So Murdoch's offer high sticking at 12:58. The Rangers, as we look at the reason why he's been penalized, Steve Schutt was his target. Rangers have had only 1 power play goal scored against them in their last 26 times short. That was a goal by Mike Bossy in the Islanders series.
So Montreal coming back in large, huge fashion here in this first period. They've tied it at 2. They're now on the power play. Napier with Mondu. Mondu takes it in on the right side, puts on the brakes, looks for Lafleur, but it goes to Napier. Lambert is right in front. Vadnais very coolly takes over and shoots it down the ice. Robinson, Lafleur, Lambert, Mondu, Napier, the power play alignment for the Canadiens. Hedberg and Kachuk defending up front. Napier takes a look. He's into the corner area to the other side. Robinson is in there to pick it up for Montreal. He whipped it behind the net. Mondu is bumped. It comes to Napier. Napier taking a look. Still has it. Back it goes to Lafleur. Lafleur shoots right on. Blocked by Davidson. Canadiens, Mondu back to Robinson. He shoots it. Knocked down in front. There's a shot. It's a Canadian shot. And Lambert was stymied at the lip of the crease. Mondu's shooting it. And let's see a couple of penalties coming up here.
Both players are upset. First it was Maloney in behind Lambert. Lambert swung around, and at that moment Newell blew the whistle, and both are heading to the penalty box. They were really hammering one another in front of the net, and it finally ends up with penalties being called. Live from the Forum in Montreal, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Very strange. Why people kick the new advantage radio? It would be simpler now to talk to a BF Goodrich dealer about the advantage radio. Shouldn't that be radio? That's what I said, radio. The BF Goodrich advantage radio.
Penalties, Maloney for cross-checking and Lambert for slashing. Here we see it, back of the net look of that hassle in front of the net. Okay, here comes the penalty now. It hasn't been, not yet. Now it comes right there. You see in behind Maloney. Lambert turns around. That's when the penalties were called.
And Dick, that's what's called a bad penalty by Maloney and a good penalty by Lambert, because you don't want to play 5 against 4 against the Montreal Canadiens. It just clears the ice and gives them all the room to move the puck around. It's really, there's not much Maloney can do, but it is a bad penalty by the Rangers.
Canadians with the big guns out there. Lemaire, Lafleur, Gainey, and Robinson. For the Rangers, Kachuk, Dreschner, and Vadnais. Players a bit fractious. They're very anxious to get going. The linesman Finn looking back. It goes to Robinson. Robinson into Lafleur. Here's Robinson again over to Gainey. Gainey's shooting it. It's blocked. Gainey back to Robinson. And it eludes him, and it's back into Montreal territory. Murdoch has exactly 35 seconds left in his penalty. Canadians organizing their power play. Lafleur to Gainey. Down on the left wing. He cuts at the line. To the other side. Here's Lemaire. Lemaire going in. Shoots it. Off a stick. And the Rangers will clear it to the line and out. No, it's still. Finally, it's back. The Canadiens zone. A dozen seconds left on the Murdoch penalty, and the Canadiens try it again. Gainey coming in. Maybe a drop pass to Robinson, picked up by Lafleur. Here's Lafleur getting set, fired it, rebound, another shot, and Davidson very sharp against Lemaire, and Gainey after a booming blast by Lafleur.
Jerry, it's early in the piece, but I don't know, I get the feeling that John Davidson's fighting the puck just a little bit. He's let a few rebounds get away from him. That was not the case here on Sunday.
Well, he has, but you know, the mere fact that he's as big as he is, I think enabled him to make a couple of saves there. He just covers an awful lot of ice, much like Dryden in that respect. Now watch him go down here and watch how much ice he covers.
Canadians have had 12 shots, the Rangers 6. The game is tied 2-2. A minute 7 remaining in the penalties to Maloney and Lambert. The first penalized player is back on, and Murdoch, and the teams are playing 5 aside.
Talking to Davidson before the game, and I could not believe how loose this guy was for a goaltender in the Stanley Cup Finals. He was talking about golf and anything but hockey.
It is McEwen behind the net, 4:55 left in the opening period. Rangers Marois on the right side. Now they are playing 5 aside. Meredith behind the net. 50 seconds left in the penalties to Lambert and Dave Maloney. Tremblay couldn't get anywhere, and McEwen. McEwen starting out. Ahead it goes. He misses Johnstone with it. There's Engblom watching Johnstone. Savard in there along with Plant. Savard having difficulty getting it clear. Out of the right side to Tremblay. Tremblay with Risebrow. They come down to the New York line. Tremblay has to go back to get it. Savard That's spinorama by Savard. Now with his head fake, he gives it to Tremblay. Here's Tremblay getting set for the shot. No difficulty for Davidson on that one. Risebrow is tied up. Hopping into the corners. Tremblay getting it back to Savard. There's the shot, the rebound. And the Rangers, McEwen, getting it out over the line. Canadians have taken the play away from the Rangers. They've come from behind to tie it at 2-2. The penalized players are back on. Now Robinson against Esposito. Réjean. Back it goes to Chartrand. Up on the wing. A lead pass to Gainey. Gainey going in. He fires. He scores! Gainey!
Well, we mentioned before the Canadians were trying to get cute when they went in on the goaltender. This time, Gainey just lets it go, Jerry.
Well, he doesn't. There's the replay. You can tell Davidson isn't even ready for the shot. Gainey could have walked in another 10 or 15 feet, but he let it fly in a big hurry and caught Davidson off guard.
You're right about Davidson not being totally in balance, because the key there is it went right through his legs. And normally from that spot, you shouldn't beat a goaltender there.
That's right. And what a heck of a play by Doug Jarvis to spring Gainey loose.
Montreal 3, New York 2. Jarvis and Chartrand getting the assist. The Canadians leading 3-2. Montreal back in there, and they pile in on the board. So Montreal has come back with a great splurge after getting behind 2-0, looking dispirited. And now here they are with 3:18 left in the opening period, leading 3-2.
Well, I didn't see the final Boston game where Montreal beat them in overtime, but I have never heard the fans as vocal as they are tonight.
What happened? You didn't see that game?
I was down in the States.
Uh-huh. Dan Kelly is right up here now. He'll be in at the play-by-play mic at the midway mark or thereabouts in the second period. Right now we have 3 minutes left in this period. The opening period, Lemaire into the corner. Lafleur is getting in front of the net. The puck comes out, gobbled up by Esposito. Here's Robinson with Lafleur. Couldn't get the pass over to Lafleur. Badney ahead to Esposito. Murdoch is coming up in the play. Esposito taken out of the play. Here's Maloney. Maloney getting it out. There's a weak shot by Murdoch. Canadians break it up and they start out to center. Lemaire ahead. And Chartrand and Esposito having words. So we've had a fair spate of penalties here in this first period. I think that brings us up to a total of 9. Esposito going off with Chartrand.
Well, Chartrand takes him into the boards rather heavily, and Esposito doesn't like it. But Danny, you're right. It's been a very chippy first period. I've noticed right from the opening whistle that the sticks of the players on both teams have been up rather high, which I think is a little unusual for a Canadian Rangers game.
Okay, there's the time, 17:28.
Le numéro 27, Rick Chartrand. 2 minutes chacun pour avoir cinglé à 17 minutes 28 secondes. The penalties to the Rangers, number 77, Phil Esposito. To the Montreal Canadiens, number 27, Rick Chartrand. 2 minutes for slashing at 17 minutes and 28 seconds.
There's the man who has the professorial appearance with these tinted glasses. Tremendous student of hockey. Yes, that was Fred Shiro. Jarvis on the board. Savard whipped a pass over to Engblom ahead. Réjean was tied up at the line by McEwen, and that puck goes down the ice. Touch, and it's icing against the Canadians. There we get a look at Réjean. We have a second here to remind you that June the 20th to June the 25th, that's going to be a busy time in Whitehorse in the Yukon. It'll be Sports Stars weekend with John Davidson, who's here tonight, Don Orey, and Tiger Williams on hand to help a most worthy cause, the Association for the Mentally Retarded. They will have a casino night, a hockey clinic, telethon, and then the guests, they'll be taken out fishing. So it'll be fishing after they have done all their good work, June the 20th to the 25th. Canadians with a substantial margin in shots on goal, 14-6 at this stage. There's Jarvis doing some jawing. He's facing off against Tkachuk. Engblom trying to get out against Tkachuk. Tkachuk back to Greshner, and he blasts the shot low. And off the board, Savard makes a move on the left side. Head to Jarvis. Uhl going in. The rebound off to the corner. Vickers is bumped by Uhl. Now a lead pass to Tkachuk. Tkachuk with Vickers at center. They're playing 5 aside. Tkachuk couldn't get by Savard with the puck. And with 1 minute and 12 seconds left in the penalties, 1:42 remaining in the opening period. Over it goes. Tkachuk tried to set up Vickers. Pass back, and it's grabbed off by Gainey. Gainey coming down. Couldn't penetrate. Plays it back to Savard, over to Lemaire. He has Gainey with the Lemaire shooting it! Big, huge save by Big Davidson. Now a penalty coming up against the Montreal Canadiens. The Rangers go to the attack. Hedberg has shot. It'll be touched by Savard, and the penalty will be assessed.
Well, Gainey dumped McEwen from behind, and he's going to get 2 minutes for it. There's only 1 minute and 11 seconds left in the penalty, or pardon me, in the period, and it's really a bad time for Montreal to get a penalty because the Rangers have the opportunity to tie this game up. Watch Gainey take him down from behind here. I guess that'd be called a trip, wouldn't it, Danny?
In that general area.
À 18 minutes, 49 secondes.
I think even the greatest Canadian fan in the world might have to go along with that call. Slashing call it was, not tripping.
Well, slashing covers a multitude of
Does it ever?
Infractions. So a glorious and glittering opportunity here now for the New York Rangers. They have the face-off first of all deep in Canadian territory as Bowman contemplates the situation, which at this stage in the hockey game has to be looked upon as a fairly serious one. Just the 1 goal separating. Montreal leading 3-2. And Nilsson is out there with Hedberg and Greshner, Vadnais. 39 seconds left in the Esposito-Chartrand penalties. Savard clearing it down the ice. So that face-off in the Canadian zone did not help New York. At least bit. Covering up. Whistle stops the play, and he shot that puck around the boards. He's highly incensed. And the face-off is going to be in New York territory.
Watch Savard take Greshner down here, and again, I think there's a possibility that could have been called had the situation been different on Montreal's part. They're already playing 4 against New York's 5, so I guess they figured they might let that one go.
There's a shot of Captain Savard. He took over the captaincy after Cournoyer had to undergo another spinal operation. We have Robinson and Lemaire against Nilsson, and Greshner, Hedberg, and Vadnais. Lemaire out there. Robinson is forced back into his own zone. Now he's gathering speed. Here's Robinson, a great move on that left side. Penalty coming up. Robinson, he went to the ice. So did Savard. And a serious situation has developed here. Greshner talking to the referee, and
there's a replay of that penalty, and I think that's a pretty good penalty for Greshner to take because Robinson's on the move.
It's Nilsson is going off. Is it a case of mistaken identity?
Well, it was actually Greshner that hauled him down.
Well, Greshner went over. He started to the penalty box. The referee said something to him. He came back to this side, and then Nilsson went over. Well, Nilsson was in there very close to it.
Game earlier tonight, Danny, talking to Ulf Nielsen, and I asked him how his ankle was and what kind of condition he was in, and he said he's really not in very good shape at this point. But he said in the Stanley Cup Finals, you're playing on emotion anyway, and really he's not too worried about his conditioning.
Well, the New York Rangers have lost an advantage at a very important time in the hockey game with less than a minute to go and trailing by 1 goal. As we look at Robinson, he was coming up with one of the typical Robinson rushes when he was impeded on the left side. Now Greshner going in against Engblom. Greshner turning. Rangers are starting out. Esposito and Chartrand off the penalty bench around the ice. Duguay within there, and here is Savard. Savard clearing it back into the center ice area. That's Hickey with it. Hickey gets it up on the right side. Duguay, number 10, he has one of the 2 New York goals. Back it goes. Greshner, he's being checked by Lemaire and is picked up by Rysbrough. Rysbrough couldn't get by Vadnais. Vadnais and Rysbrough fighting forward. Hickey moves in trying to get possession, and they're just having the formality of the face-off in the Ranger zone. Just 1 second left. 15-6 the shots on goal for Montreal.
Well, there's not much question that the Canadiens have had the better of the play this period, and I think probably in the first 5 minutes of the game that they had 3 or 4 good opportunities, and again that John Davidson has been playing sensational, even though he does look a little shaky tonight.
So the puck will be dropped. That will be the end of the first period. There's the end of the period. So we had a total of 5 goals. Montreal getting the last 3 goals in this period. The Rangers got the first 2. Shots on goal once again, 15-6 Montreal with that margin. And right now we're going to move down to Dick.
All right, Danny. Well, as Danny might put it, whatever happened to those titanic defensive struggles that we do sometimes see in Stanley Cup final time. This has been a shooter's delight. Both goaltenders have enjoyed better starts to a hockey game in recent weeks. 3-2, the Canadiens lead after Hedberg and Duguay gave the Rangers a 2-0 lead. The Canadiens came back on goals by Lambert, Lafleur, and Bob Gainey, and as Danny mentioned, they outshot the Rangers 15-6. Coming up in this first intermission, a pre-taped interview with Bob Gainey, who chatted with us before tonight's game, and NHL referee-in-chief Scotty Morrison will be joining us here in our studios. And so the score at the end of the first period, the Montreal Canadiens 3, the New York Rangers 2.
Got some nice cold eggs for the winners, huh?
Oh, yeah. That's some of that for the losers, huh?
Just about every weekend, Rick and the guys get together for some good times and some Molson Export Ale.
The time is right. Your friends are here. You couldn't ask for a better beer. Export keeps on tasting great. When the time is right for great beer.
Well, what do you guys say to a little rematch in the morning?
Hey, you know what you guys got to do to win this trophy back, don't you? Hire me as your anchor man.
Export keeps on tasting great. When the time is right for great beer.
A tough national leader must be able to set aside special interests and make tough decisions fair to all Canadians.
The thing that makes that country strong is that we have a government that can sometimes set aside local or provincial interest and say, well, I know we're not going to be popular here if we do that. And I know that it's not going to go over all that well if we do the next thing. But we have to think of the whole country from sea to sea. And that's the issue.
We need tough leadership to grow. A leader must be a leader. Support Prime Minister Trudeau.
Canadiens, who has just come through, first off, a series against the Leafs and then a 7-game set against the Bruins. And Bob, when you consider the style that those teams played against you, now you play the Rangers, is it a drastic change the way the Rangers play against you?
Well, Dick, I think they do have a different style of team. They're a very aggressive team offensively. They have a lot of players, forwards and defensemen, who are able to score. And I think it's a little bit different when, against the other teams where you're able to contain 4, 5, maybe 6 players, you knew everything else was under control. But with this team, there's a lot of different guys who can do damage out there.
The physical aspect of a series, there was a lot of that in both the Leafs and Bruins rounds. Do you expect as much against the Rangers?
Well, I think as the series wears on and different things happen, teams are going to have to change a little bit and say we're going to have to be more physical, we're going to have to check harder. And of course, as the games go on, you build up little grudges here and there, and I think, you know, when we get to, you know, 4 or 5 games in that area, we're going to see tougher hockey, and it's going to be a lot more hitting, and it's just going to be grinding right down to the end.
Bob, Scotty Bowman likes to alternate people with lines, and yourself now, playing left wing, is there a great adjustment for you to make when you're out there, say with Doug Jarvis and Rick Chartrand, and then suddenly you find yourself out with offensive types like Lemaire and Lafleur?
Well, there is a big difference, but I think usually when I go out with Dougie and Rick, we're usually against a line we know we can score, that we know they can score, and I have to look at it from a defensive point of view and play them accordingly. With Jacques and Guy, when we're out there, these are the kind of guys that are going to have to score for us. You know, they're going to have to put the puck in the net for us. And so they're going to need some help. They can't be playing a man short out there. And I think I have to help them a little bit offensively, but maybe being a little bit wary and letting them have a little bit more room offensively and maybe just pulling up a little bit defensively for them.
Bob, very briefly, killing penalties against the Rangers, do you alter your style as you play against different teams?
We haven't seen that much of them. We don't really alter our style. The only thing we may do different is if a team is really good with the puck like this team is, we'll try not to let them inside our blue line, and when they get inside our blue line, we'll rush them more. A team that isn't as adept with the puck inside our own blue line, we'll give them some time, and hopefully they'll make the mistake. We won't have to force the mistake.
Bob, you've had a fine playoff so far. I know the folks have enjoyed watching you play. I know I have. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Dick.
Bob Gainey of the Canadiens. Next in line, Scotty Morrison, referee-in-chief of the National Hockey League, when Stanley Cup 79 continues in just a moment.
You're seeing some real tough truck pounding. At Ford's Arizona Proving Grounds, we put test pickups over a really tough durability course. Bone-jarring bumps, mud bogs, salt baths, frame twists, uphill beatings, steel-edged potholes, and Ford pickups are built tough to take it. In fact, Ford trucks get over 2.5 million test miles each year. Tough Ford trucks. At your Ford and Mercury dealers now.
Back in 1832, Halifax was a growing seaport, trading lumber and fish in the markets of the Caribbean and Great Britain. That was the year a handful of merchants formed Halifax's first public bank, the Bank of Nova Scotia. They believed that making an investment in hard-working people was a good investment. They weren't wrong. 50 years later, Scotiabank opened a Winnipeg office and helped the Western farmer harvest another kind of sea, a sea of wheat. In the late 1950s, banks weren't in the business of promoting small personal loans. Scotiabank made it their business and started giving credit where credit was due. Investing in hard-working people with imagination. It was a good idea back in 1832, and it's a good idea today.
Scotiabank, just around the corner, right around the world. Scotiabank, just around the corner, right around the world. Scotiabank.
The Canadiens lead the Rangers 3-2 at the end of one period. Scotty Morrison, the NHL's referee-in-chief, our guest right now. And Scotty, you have assigned a certain number of referees and linesmen for the final series. How do you determine who gets the call?
Well, it's a tough decision, Dick. Tough one for me to make. It's a tough one for the fellows that are not selected to accept. They're senior personnel, they're professionals, and what we do, we go over all of the reports throughout the season, sit down halfway through the season, again prior to playoffs, during the playoffs, and then the decision rests with me to select the top 3 referees that I think can do the job in the finals.
The first game was refereed by Andy Van Helleman, so would that mean that if it goes 7, he gets the call for Game 7? Is it work?
Yes, just a straight rotation. Andy will do Game 4 and 7. Dave Newell's working tonight. Bob Myers is a standby. Bob will open up the series in New York. Kind
of fortunate you had the standby linesman. That's one of the first times that's ever been brought into play, is it not?
First time, to my knowledge, Dick, in the Stanley Cup Finals. With respect to the linesmen, we started off this year with 10 for the playoffs, got down to 4 for the finals. In this case, Ron Finn is working his first Stanley Cup Finals. Ron's completed 10 years in the National Hockey League. Leon Stickle has worked the last 2 years. It was very close between the two, and I just phoned Leon and told him that I thought Ron had deserved the chance, and the pro that Leon is, he just accepted it.
When you get to a playoff situation, you know who's playing who, and you know the style of play basically for each team. How much dialogue is there in that respect? you know, what to expect from these two teams based on the overall season?
Well, Dick, the whole theory of it, when we have our meetings, we're determined to let the teams initially set the tempo of the game. You can't prejudge a game. You can't go out and say, well, this is going to be a tough game, so I'm going to rule very strict at the beginning. Let the teams set the tempo of the game, let the game flow, and where the penalties are there, whether it's a flagrant foul, where it's a foul on a scoring opportunity, they just have to be called.
The referees are the men in the middle, certainly, and the other night here, Scotty, in Game 7, the Canadiens and the Bruins, late in the third period, Boston called too many men on the ice. They were leading the game. Lafleur then tied it with the power play, and Montreal won it in overtime. It's not a controversial call. The Bruins didn't argue the point to any great degree, but exactly what happened, because a lot of fans are still in the dark about that.
Well, it was a very tough call to make, Dave, at that point in the game, but the play had gone in to the Montreal end. There were 7 Boston players on the ice. There was no one making any effort to come off. The officials let them come back up the ice, over the center red line, almost over the blue line, still nobody coming off, and you had to call it. And I have to give Don Cherry credit. He made no bones about it at all. He just accepted it, as tough as it was.
We are making history with Don Cherry being complimented in that way. How much leeway do they get? Because I know the linesman, in that case, D'Amico was the one who called. How much leeway would they allow in that very tense situation?
Well, okay, if the player suddenly realizes, hey, I'm out here, I'm not supposed to be, and he's making a mad dash for the bench, and he's not in the play in any way, they're not going to call it at that point in the game. It'd be terrible to have a game determined on that type of call. But in that situation, it must have gone on for, I would say, 15 or 20 seconds with them just not realizing they had 7 men on the ice. And there's no judgment. You just see it. You see that they're not making any effort to get off, and it has to be called.
Okay, Scotty, thank you very much. Scotty Morrison, referee-in-chief of the NHL. The Canadiens lead the Rangers 3-2 after 1 period. Dan Kelly and Jerry Pinder standing by to talk about the first period. We'll return with the Stanley Cup playoffs in just a moment.
Providing their share of the family income makes a lot of sense to a lot of women these days. And so does buying life insurance. Think about your future and talk it over with a Mutual Life of Canada agent.
Life is a mutual affair.
Discipline a little ragged in the lawn and garden, uprising along the border? Call out Black & Decker. Take charge with a deluxe whippersnipper. The precise, in-close trimmer with a thick, rugged nylon line. Self-feeding, so it keeps on trimming those tricky places. You're in command. When your lawn and garden gets out of line, whippersnipper it. You can win this convertible in-ground swimming pool or lots of other prizes in Black & Decker's Lawn and Garden Sweepstakes.
Kentucky Fried Chicken is really finger-licking. Good chicken. Kentucky Fried Chicken is really finger-licking.
Good chicken. Take home a meal that's got plenty of nutrition for your family. Take home Kentucky Fried Chicken and all the fixings. It's a wholesome dinner, and dinner's ready now.
Colonel Sanders, boys and girls, make it really finger-licking.
Good chicken.
The Montreal Canadiens 3, the New York Rangers 2 after 1 period of play. Jerry Pinder, it didn't take the Rangers long to get a goal from Anders Hedberg, and I didn't think Ken Dryden was quite ready for the shot.
No, he really wasn't, and this is the value of a sometimes forgotten wrist shot. Hedberg is very, very good at this. Watch him. Gainey gets a good shot at him there and misses him. Now watch him. He just makes the turn and the puck's gone. And you can see Dryden, trying to zero in on the puck, but he really doesn't have much of a chance. And there, again, there's the value of a quick wrist shot.
Here's another look at the wrist shot by Hedberg into the top right-hand corner.
See, by the time Dryden goes to make that move with his glove or his stick, the puck's already by him.
Duguay scored for New York to make it 2-0. Lambert scored for Montreal to narrow the count to 2-1, and then Mr. Lafleur came to the fore.
Who else? This was a scramble in front of the Montreal net, and in front of the Ranger net, and all 3 Montreal players had a chance to score before the puck finally comes out to the side to Lafleur. And he bangs away at it, and it's up high over Davidson's left shoulder. He was down and had made 2 or 3 saves at this point, as we're going to see here. He makes one here on Lemaire and goes down, and the puck bounces out right on Lafleur's stick, and he just bangs it up high. No chance for Davidson on that particular play.
You mentioned the wrist shot and the importance, and Bob Gainey showed that when he gave Montreal the lead.
Well, this is a lesson for all the young kids watching tonight on how important the wrist shot really is in hockey. Watch Jarvis put him in the clear. And again, he shoots before Davidson has a chance to get ready. The puck hits the inside of his pad and actually goes between his legs. And I guess those two examples are probably the best examples you can show the young kids that the wrist shot is still a very, very important part of the game today.
The tone of the period, the Rangers with the 2 quick goals, but then I thought Montreal took control of the game. Did you not?
Well, Montreal dominated. Ken Dryden wasn't really tested severely, and you hate to fault him. I don't think he was quite ready. He may not have been even prepared to go into the nets because he thought Larocque was going to play the game, and this might have had an effect even on a shot like Hedberg. You know, he just didn't look ready.
And goaltenders do take a special mental aspect to getting ready for a game such as this.
Oh, there's no question about it. If they think they're going to get a rest, like Dryden probably felt he was, mentally they'll let down. And in his case, I think early in the period, it showed a little bit. Fortunately for Dryden, he didn't get very many shots, and also fortunately for him, the Montreal Canadiens were really flying.
What do we keep an eye out for in period 2?
Well, I think we're going to have to keep an eye out for Davidson. If he has a sensational game, he'll keep the Rangers in. The Canadiens are really moving right now, and it's up to Davidson to stop them.
You made mention on our walk down that Davidson's made some big saves, but you thought he'd look shaky at times.
Well, he does. He hasn't had a handle on a lot of the rebounds, and as many good saves as he's actually made, he still has looked a little shaky.
That's Jerry Pinder, live from the Forum in Montreal, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Joe Clark was born in a small town in the foothills of the Rockies. His preparation for national office began with university degrees in history and political science. At the age of 33, he was elected to Parliament, moving swiftly to the front ranks of his party. By the time he was 36, he became national leader of the Progressive Conservatives. And in the 3 years that followed, he has put his own mark on the party. He has traveled to every part of the country, working with Canadians to develop policies that fit our national reality. His sense of purpose and dedication have attracted a new team of Canadians to run with him in this election. And now, after 20 years of preparation and diligence, he's ready. He's offering you a stake in the country and the chance to work with him in building a better future. On May 22nd, vote Progressive Conservative. Give the future a chance.
Back in the broadcast booth on the east side overlooking the ice surface where we see the Canadiens and the Rangers skating around. We look at the summary of the first period. Hedberg and Duguay for New York. Lambert, Lafleur, and Gainey for Montreal. The shots on goal 15-6. Dick, it's very interesting a breakdown of the statistical shot story that Lafleur has 4. He has 4, Lambert 2, Jarvis 2, Gainey 2, Lemaire 2, and for the New York Rangers, nobody with more than 1.
Rather than on, the edge would also go to Montreal. You can think of a couple of times, Houle in particular had a big chance and missed it on the short side. Gainey missed it at close range. However, the Canadiens did come on after the shaky start that they experienced with a very quick goal by Hedberg and then the goal by Duguay on a giveaway, and it looked like history, very recent history, was about to repeat. But John Davidson had his problems at the other end, as Dryden has been having in the Canadiens' goal. And so it's a 3-2 hockey game right now as coaches Bowman and Shiro get set for this second period.
And the third game of this series will be played at Madison Square Garden in New York on Thursday night. The starting time will be 7:30 Eastern Daylight Time. In the penalty box, we have Nilsson of the New York Rangers, Gainey, Montreal. Gainey is 49 seconds, Nilsson a minute and 18 seconds, and now they're doing some shuffling with the starting lineup for Montreal. Finally, they settle on Riseborough and Trombley up front, Savard and Robinson back, and for the Rangers, Vadnais, Duguay, Hickey, and Maloney. Now Vadnais back at his own line, swings it into the center ice area to Hickey on the right side. Duguay cutting in, the angle is sharp. He fired it wide. Puck is back into the center ice area. Maloney Vadnais returns it to the left side. Ford checking Risebrough and Tremblay. Tremblay belts his man Hickey. Risebrough swings a harmless shot in a Davidson. Now coming out on the left side. Dave Maloney is picked up by Ray-Jean Hull, swinging to the left, is swept away. A shot goes off Vadnais' stick. It was he who swept it away originally. Now the Canadians have the advantage. They're coming to the line. Jarvis is over the line, puts on the brakes. Robinson shooting it, and a big save. Ray-Jean Hull spinning around. Good work by Hull. Hull around the net. Gainey is right in front to Robinson. And he hit Maloney or his teammate, Gainey. Now Jarvis is shot, and he rattled it off Vadnais' leg. Penalized New York player is back on. Hickey over on the far side. Duguay shooting it. Big rebound. Wheeling away for Montreal. Robinson cleared it into the corner, and that is the signal for Montreal to make wholesale changes while the play goes on. The Rangers come out smartly into the center ice area. Over it goes. There's a shot by Hedberg again, that wrist shot. He wasted no time. Lafleur intercepted by Vickers. There's the shot. And Lafleur recovered to deflect that shot after the interception on Lafleur's pass.
Boy, I can't believe how often the Canadians are passing the puck rink wide in their own zone. Along my travels on the first intermission, I ran into Guy Lapointe, and he is not in uniform here tonight again. He says he hopes he'll be able to play Saturday night in Game 4 in New York. He has the knee injury. The only change for the Canadians tonight, Pierre LaRouche out of the lineup and Gilles Lupien in, I think prompted by Savard's illness, Danny. As you mentioned, he's running a fever, has a bit of the flu. For the Rangers, the only change is in the backup goaltender. Wayne Thomas served in that capacity on Sunday in Game 1. Doug Sotard, the Edmonton native, is the backup to Davidson here tonight.
Montreal 3, New York 2. And now we've played exactly 2 minutes into the second period, and there's Vickers along the boards, takes a look, spins around, centered it, and Langway up on the left side. Lambert with Tremblay. He shoots it in on the move from the left side. Risebrough. McEwen clearing it ahead. Good pass goes to Nielsen. He leaves it. Hedberg over the line. Fired it. And it's over the glass.
From the Forum in Montreal, this is Stanley Cup 79.
For every beautiful lawn, there's a garage full of equipment. Something to mow it, to fertilize it, to clean up clippings, to rake up leaves. Introducing the Electro-Mulch from Canadian General Electric. It mulches as it mows, fertilizing your lawn with its own tiny clippings. No raking, no bagging, no cleanup. The work-saving Electro-Mulch. One machine for a beautiful, healthy lawn.
Jacques Lemaire of the Canadiens, the busiest face-off man in the first period. He was on the draw 16 times. He won 11.
Rangers lose the draw. Langway, shot turns on the left side. Lafleur on the right side. Shot has it. Shot is cutting it on goal. Shot is getting set. He arrested on the goal post. Great speed there by Shot. Now it's cleared back into Canadiens territory. Murdoch is going after Langway. Esposito has it. Esposito centered it off the boards. Here's Greshner slopping it back in there. Behind the net, it's centered. Shot is going to the left side. His pass to center is broken up. There. Don Maloney going after number 17 of Montreal, Langway. That happened back in Canadian zone. What happened there, Mr. Jerry?
Well, it appeared that Langway took a pretty good punch at Esposito, and Esposito saw the referee's hand go up and just walked away from it, and Don Maloney took offense to the punch that Langway took and came in. And I believe Langway had the first penalty, but I believe we're going to see Don Maloney end up with a penalty too.
That's a carryover from Sunday. They didn't like each other from the last movie, Jerry. I can't believe what the Canadians are doing to a lot of their scoring chances, not only here tonight, but throughout the playoffs. They have not been sharp one-on-one against the goaltenders. And we had another example of it here a moment ago, and Steve Shutt was sent into the clear on a super pass from Langway. He outfooted the defense of Greshner and Vadnais. Here's the play, Jerry.
Well, watch him. I think he tries to shoot the puck a little too soon. Davidson makes a great save, but had Shutt taken a few more steps, I think he had an open net to shoot at. It looks like Don Maloney wants a piece of Langway's action, but he's not going to get it. They're both going into the penalty box.
A lot of double penalties here tonight. You're right about Shutt. He made a good play. Davidson did the only thing he could do, but that side of the net was open, and Shutt threw it back behind him, if you will, right back into Davidson. But as we said in the first period, it is so easy up here.
It is. It's a very easy game from up here, Dick.
So we get double penalties again. We had several of this similar type situations in the opening period. Now here we have it. They were involved in a couple of hassles in Sunday's opener. That was a staring fight, which I don't think was going to amount to anything, between Esposito and Langway. And suddenly Maloney, the youngster on that forward line alongside the veteran Espo, trying to move in and be a one-man rescue squad.
I would think that Maloney's going to hear about that penalty from his coach, Dick, because previous to that, Langway already had the 2-minute penalty. The Rangers have a man advantage, and at that point, you're not standing up for your team. All you're doing really is taking a stupid penalty.
Another look at another angle of Shutt's chance.
See, he takes one more step, and I think he's got the open net to shoot at, Dick.
I threw the puck out underneath Davidson. And it just went off. Post. Boy, there's been some chances. Canadians have had 18 shots. The Rangers have had 7 in this hockey game.
The penalties to the New York Rangers.
There hasn't been a lot of line matching either on the part of either coach. I don't believe Shiro really cares who he has out there against Lafleur. He stated that either Maloney or maybe Hedberg or whoever comes up against him is going to play against him, but they're going to have to pay a little more attention to Lafleur, I think, because he was a bit of a dominant force in that first period.
Of course, the penalties aren't exactly helping the coaches settle into line against line.
Well, that's for sure.
So they are getting set for the face-off inside the Montreal line. We have Sheehan, Hickey, Greshner, and Vadnais, the 4 skaters for New York. Lemaire, Lafleur, Savard, and Robinson. For Canadians from his own zone, Greshner coming out, he slides the pass off the boards. Here's Sheen gathering speed, making that move on the right side, backhand shot. And Dryden was over there to make the save. That was an unexpected, surprising burst of speed by Sheen. He was really picking them up. He wasn't keeping them down on the ice very long. Now here's Robinson. Robinson with big strides into the center ice area. Lafleur over the line. Lafleur dropping it back. And the Rangers start out. Duguay ahead to Sheehan. Sheehan over the line, stop, wait for a pass to come, and it's gobbled up by Lafleur. Lafleur gathering speed into the center ice area. Lafleur takes a look. It's in the slot area, and Vadnais very effectively and very coolly takes over for New York, gives it to Greshner, and it's Vadnais again. Gainey coming in on the left side. Lemaire at the line. Lost, and Nilsson is jammed out of the play by Robinson. Now a lead pass. And the checking very, very close. There's Lemaire knocking it away from Vadnais. They go to the boards inside the New York line. They pile in there. And with 40 seconds left in the penalties, they'll face off.
Here's Carol Vadnais, number 5 of the Rangers, the veteran defenseman. He was the most work player on the ice in the first period. He played 11 minutes and 3 seconds of the first 20 minutes. Larry Robinson was next in that regard, 10:46 his ice time.
It is Jarvis, Gainey, Chartrand, and Engblom from Montreal. Nilsson is still out there, and if he plays as often in future games as he's playing tonight, he'll be back in tip-top shape without much delay. There's Jarvis, headmanning the puck to Gainey, Gainey going in, firing it! And Davidson came out there and challenged him very, very proficiently. And his proficiency there saved the goal, perhaps, because Gainey was steaming in. Now there's a good move by Marois. Ahead on the left side of Vickers. Drop pass to Marois. Marois getting in there. Getting set. Fire again. This time it comes to the side of the net. Grabbing it, Dryden.
Well, a good stop by Dryden and a good job by Brian Engwall, number 3, to hang tough on Ulf Nilsson off the edge of the crease. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Ryder rents trucks, all kinds of trucks. And Ryder does everything possible to make sure the wipers work, the headlights work, the brakes and steering and transmissions have been checked out. So practically nothing can stop a Ryder truck. Because when you rent trucks, you don't want them to give you problems. You want them to solve your problems. Ryder, the best truck money can rent.
Here's Walter Tkachuk, the only Ranger today who was with the team the last time they were in the Stanley Cup Finals, 1972. More about that during our second intermission.
Rangers, everybody up for the face-off. Robinson behind the net. Now there's a lead pass to Risebrough. Risebrough. He's upended by Marwa. Play goes on. Marwa coming out now. He's an excellent rushing defenseman for New York on the left side. It goes to Vickers. The pass in for Hedberg. He dropped it back. Trombley on the right side. Dave Maloney takes over, slaps that puck back in toward the corner area. The Rangers move in there. The Canadiens are leading by 1, 3-2. A high pass over to the right side. Hedberg couldn't get by Robinson. Robinson knocked it ahead, and it goes to the Canadiens bench. 14-15 left in the second period.
3-2 Montreal. Jerry, well, the fans show their displeasure at referee Newell. The Canadiens here tonight are starting to get those long passes away. They're starting to throw that puck up the middle along the board, something they weren't able to do against New York Sunday.
Well, I think Scotty Bowman or somebody else who's watching for the Canadiens has tipped them off that the middle and wide along the boards is open, because we've seen 2 clean breakaways and almost a third one already in this second period.
From the corner, it's behind the net. Lupien is on the ice now for Montreal. Again, the Canadiens headman the puck. Lemaire was forced to get clear of it. Rangers shooting it back. Esposito going in. Lupien couldn't clear it, and Lafleur takes over, and he backhands it over the glass.
Well, the Rangers are being outshot 19-10, Jerry. I think this is a very critical time of this hockey game for them. They trail by 1. They've got to hang in. They've got to try to get back and get the equalizer, because although the last couple of minutes they've started to force the play a bit toward the Canadian zone, they have been outplayed.
Well, they can't ask any more of their goaltender, Davidson. He's just been sensational in the early going here in the second period. But as you said, they've got to force the play on the Montreal Canadiens and make those big defensemen skate.
Don Maloney and Murdoch up there along with Esposito, and they'll face off again. I noticed that Trombley is over there flexing his right leg. He was doing it for about a minute. Now he picks up a new stick and comes back to the Canadiens bench. Lemaire cleared it back in behind the net. Savard bumped off the puck. Back it comes into the center ice area. Now it's Don Maloney on it for Montreal. Lemaire. Here's Savard. Spinning again. Forced back by the forechecking of Esposito. Lupien cleared it to the line. Not out. Greshner shooting it. Loose puck. Esposito in his favorite spot. He couldn't pick it up. Now it's Lemaire blasting a long one. Blocked by Davidson. McEwen behind the net. Montreal 3, New York 2, 13-15 left. An interception by Shutt going in. He shoots. Puck is loose. They score!
Canadian score, and that time it was a Ranger giveaway, Jerry, as Esposito was caught by Steve Shutt. Right here.
Well, he never really gets control of the puck, and Steve Shutt just cuts in front of the net, bang away at it, and eventually gets in the net. But it was actually the Ranger defenseman's fault for making that play to Esposito. He passed the puck a little bit ahead, and Esposito never really had a chance to get control of it, as we see Shutt firing it here. And again, Davidson made the first save, Dick. He's done all they can ask of.
They're arguing the point a bit, but the puck, as you saw in that particular replay, couldn't see it at the first time around, popped up, and Shutt's body just falling in over Davidson, knocked it into the net.
Now Pront over the line, takes the shot, long and weak. Trombley clearing it. John Stone trying to center it. Montreal feeding it back into the center ice area. Plante. Pass on the right side. John Stone lost it. Line way to Lambert. He hits that New York line back to Risebrough. He tried to center it. And Vadnais sends his man John Stone away on the right side. They rip it into the corner. Tremblay, nothing wrong with his leg apparently. He's out there skating and clears it into the center ice area. Now it's Nilsson clearing it gently ahead to Plante on the right side. John Stone, a rising shot off the glass, bumping solidly. Plante and Tremblay. Now the Canadiens with Lambert. Gets rid of it, down the ice it goes. We could have icing here against Montreal with Dave Maloney back there to touch it. 12:08 left in this the second period. Montreal 4, New York 2, and the Canadiens have taken over since about the 6-minute mark of the opening period.
And a high angle look at the goal by Schutt. Can't see the puck very well here, but it's up in the air somewhere, and finally it goes off bodies into the net. And the Canadiens lead 4-2.
There's a fine-looking young man and a very good hockey player, Duguay. But there's a fellow who likes to have some water right now, Risebrough. Courageous young man, back into action after sustaining that broken nose in the fight with O'Reilly. 5th game of their series. Now here's Jarvis racing into New York territory, and he drifts the shot behind the net. There's a shot over the top of the net by Chartrand. Duguay clearing it out. Robinson back in his own zone to Chartrand. He hit Napier. Napier working in there. Napier, a weak shot, and he was wide. But a fine individual effort by number 31. Down the right side. Duguay is over the line. Bodied by Robinson. Into the center ice area. Napier over the line. In front for Lafleur. Good defensive play by McEwen. Coming back. Duguay over the line. There's the shot, the rebound. Chartrand clears it to the line. Out it comes. Brought in by McEwen offside.
This is Stanley Cup 79 from the Forum in Montreal.
What's it to brew a great light beer?
You gotta have heart, miles and miles and miles of heart. If you're gonna brew a beer with great taste, there's only one place to start. Molson Light has got heart, 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 miles and miles of heart, heart, heart. Molson Light has got heart.
Had one yet?
And now for the play-by-play, it gives me great pleasure to introduce a native of Ottawa, now making his loot down in St. Louis. Since he went down there, he is known as the mouth of the Mississippi. Great broadcaster, Dan Kelly.
Thank you, Danny Gallivan. Good to work a broadcast with you again, and good to see you back in action and in good voice. Here we go with the Canadiens holding a 4-2 lead, and Savard trying to clear it out. It's knocked down by Kachuk to Vickers. Sanders and Hedberg just stand on it. Now it is Gainey for the Canadiens to Houle at center. Greshner breaks it up. Here's Kachuk clearing it in, and Lupia, the big Montreal defenseman, number 24, backing on the puck in the corner. Dick Gainey now to Jarvis. Jarvis to Houle. Houle checked from behind by Vickers, who was doing some back checking. Vadnais in front of his own net. Cleared it for Greshner, and Greshner cleared it into the center ice area. Lupia takes over there for Savard. Canadiens leading 4-2. We're approaching the midway mark of this game as Greshner drops it back into his own zone for Vadnais. Vadnais flips to Kachuk. He dumps it into the Canadian zone. Here's Dryden leaving it for Lupien. Now on the left wing side to Schutt. Cleared it to center. And Vadnais back for the Rangers. Now a pass to Don Maloney. Savard takes over for Montreal. To Langway. Clears to Lafleur. Murdoch stepped into him. And Greshner takes over for the Rangers to Don Maloney. He guts it into the Canadian zone. Langway back after it. Fired it around on the boards to the other side, and it comes all the way to center. Mario Marois for the Rangers to Greshner. Right wing pass to Esposito. And Langway is there to poke it back into the center ice area. Here's Don Maloney, number 12. In on left wing. Savard skates him off. Esposito back to help out. Don Maloney trying to center. Maloney does get it in front, but LaFleur has it for the Canadiens, and it clips up over the glass, and the face-off will be in the Montreal zone.
LaFleur with one of the Canadiens' 4 goals tonight, logging a fair amount of ice time again, as he always does. Jerry, you referred to it in the first period that I thought the Canadiens seemed to be taking the initiative when it came to hitting people. If there's any kind of a physical aspect of this game, the Ranger defense isn't doing anything along those lines, and I think the Canadiens are, growing confident that they can just freewheel around that New York blue line.
Well, that's right. They aren't putting the body on Montreal at all, and a lot of this has to do with the fact that the Canadiens are skating pretty well. At the best of times, the Ranger defense are not physical.
Jacques Lemaire against Esposito. Face-off in the Canadian zone. Puck still loose in the face-off circle. Maloney whacks at it. Here's Murdoch, number 14. Got it behind the net, but Lemaire fired it out onto the other wing for the Canadiens to center ice. Marois has it there, tried to shoot it in. Now LaFleur, number 10. Dropping it back to Langway. Langway, lead pass to Lemaire. In across the line, couldn't get away from Dave Maloney. And Maloney, number 26, over on right wing for Murdoch. Murdoch cleared it to center ice. Engblom giving it to Lemaire. Jacques Lemaire flipping it into the Ranger zone. The Canadiens are leading 4-2. 8:47 left in the second period as the Rangers a lead pass to Esposito. Engblom is there to intercept. Ryan Engblom, number 3, works it nicely out on right wing to center ice. Engblom trying to get it to Risebrow, but Murdoch was there to break it up. Now Dave Maloney has to backtrack to get to the puck and clears it to number 24, Plante. Plante checked by Lambert. Now it's picked up by Johnstone, who flips one into the Montreal zone. Robinson, number 19, out to Lambert, cleared to center, and Greshner has it for the Rangers. For Johnstone. He lost it. Mario Tremblay clearing it in. Mike McKillen for the Rangers. Being forechecked hard by Lambert. Here's Risebrow, centers one. Johnstone cleared it. Chartrand shoots one. Off a skate and cleared away by Davidson. Now McKillen for the Rangers. To his own line, and it's centered to Johnstone. Lambert breaks it up and tried to clear it back in, and he cleared it up over the glass.
With the score, the Canadiens 4, the Rangers 2. This is Stanley Cup 79.
A lot of liberals and conservatives believe that Ed Broadbent would make the best prime minister. They say if Ed Broadbent were the leader of their party, he'd win by the biggest landslide in Canadian history. People don't have the same kind of nagging doubts about Ed Broadbent they have about Trudeau and Clark. Maybe it's time to put aside the old liberal and conservative myths and simply vote for the best man. If enough people did that, Ed Broadbent would be the next Prime Minister of Canada.
This has been a paid political announcement by the NDP.
7 minutes, 50 seconds left in the second period. 4-2, Canadiens leading the Rangers. Rangers at one time led 2-0. Here's Mondeau flipping one in for Montreal. Davidson cleared it around onto the boards on the other wing. Chartrand holding it in with a shot wide of the net. Now Greshner out on right wing to Duguay, head manning it to Sheehan. Sheehan flips it into the Montreal zone. That's Pat Hickey, and after it, Chartrand cleared it away. And the Canadiens, Mondeau got it to center ice. Here's Mondeau clearing it into the Ranger zone. Greshner, number 4, back for New York. Greshner for Mike McEwen. Back to Greshner. Flips it into the center ice area. Gainey knocked it down with a high stick, and the face-off is going to be in the center ice area with 7:10 left in the second period.
It's kind of hard to pinpoint the Canadian style tonight, Dan. It just seems every man after the puck, because they've got 2 and sometimes 3 men on the puck at all times. And it appears to be a successful strategy for them against New York tonight.
Rangers scored on 2 of their first 3 shots, but have been unable to score since and have fallen behind 4-2 as Duguay clears it down the ice for New York. Dryden setting it up for Chartrand. Chartrand in his own zone, checked by Hickey. Now Robinson over to cover up. He and Hickey jam up. G into the corner. Center, Duguay! And a chest save by Dryden on Duguay. Now Robinson for Montreal. Big save there by Dryden. Here's Maloney at center ice to Sheehan. He moves in smartly. Oh, and Chartrand sends him spinning with a heavy body check. And the Canadiens clear it to center. Rysbrough dumps it into the Ranger zone. Davidson for Hickey on the left wing side. Clear it to the Montreal line. Lupien for Montreal to Jarvis. Broken up by Vadnais. Jarvis carries it in with his teammate Houle in there ahead of the play, offside.
Well, earlier in this period, we mentioned that Walter Tkachuk was the only Ranger left from the team that reached the finals in 1972 against the Boston Bruins. In our second intermission, I'll be chatting with Walt, and we'll show you the highlights of that 1972 Stanley Cup final between the Rangers and the Bruins. That's coming up in our second intermission.
Handsome Dick Irvin with...
the wrong guy.
Is that the same guy? Puck loose in the Ranger zone. It is taken there by Hedberg. He drops it back to his own line to Dave Maloney. Now to Vadnais. They tried to work it in. Jarvis breaks it up. Jarvis for the Canadiens. Dumping one in. Now Houle along the boards trying to get some help and is pinned there by two Rangers at a face-off in the Ranger zone.
This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Mercury Marquis, scientifically designed, totally new in the tailored dimensions of today. Yet in its new size, Marquis has more hip room for even greater six-passenger comfort, offers more trunk space than last year, and has improved fuel economy and handling characteristics. Mercury Marquis, ride and spacious elegance. You like its new dimensions at the sign of the cat.
One of the 17,024 spectators on hand here at the Forum this evening, and perhaps one of the prettiest, too.
Give that cameraman a hand, Dan.
Here's Jarvis on the faceoff. Mike McEwen trying to feed it out on the wing. Vickers got it to center, but Gainey is there for Montreal. Canadiens leading 4-2. Gainey cleared it in. Mike McEwen now to Vickers. Here's Vickers. Lead pass for Hedberg. Hedberg with Savard in the corner, centered. Lupien cleared it away. Now Tkachuk. Backhand shot off a skate and it deflects wide. Jarvis and Tkachuk go to the boards. Hedberg comes up with the puck. Shoots one. Dryden sprawling save with Vickers all over him at the edge of the crease, and the Canadiens clear it away. Vickers, number 8. To his own line to Marois. Now a lead pass to Hedberg. Savard is there to clear it back to center. Now Marois. Being forechecked by Lemaire. It's cleared to center to Vickers. Here's Tkachuk. Walter Tkachuk, number 18, overskates the puck. Hedberg picks it up. He's knocked down by Lupien. Tkachuk at it, but Jarvis broke it away and Houle for the Canadiens gives it to Shutt. Shutt shooting. Davidson glove save on a rocketing blast by Shutt.
He got shot deflected off the defenseman's stick. It was my first impression of it, Jerry. We'll take a look at it here. Vadnais defending. Watch the deflection. Oh, yeah, right there.
Oh, yeah. Did Shutt ever let it fly? Davidson made a great save. But it's interesting to note that, here's another replay. Watch Davidson make the stop here. Good stop by Davidson. And Hedberg, one of the great all-time great scorers of the World Hockey Association, has been put on that checking line with Tkachuk and Vickers.
Here's Maloney clearing it to center ice to Esposito on left wing to Don Maloney. Maloney in across the line, and the play is offside at the Canadiens' blue line. Watching Shutt fire that puck, Dick Irvin, makes you wonder if anybody in the future will ever want to be a goaltender.
Makes you wonder how they went so long without a mask.
Boy, that's why Davidson was a left winger until he was 16 years of age. Isn't that amazing? He didn't play goal until 16.
I didn't know that. That is amazing.
Here's Langway trying to clear it out. Lemaire couldn't get it out of the zone. Esposito tying him up. And now it is cleared to center ice. Vadnais shoots one back in. Dryden sets it up behind the net. Langway is there for Lafleur. Now Greshner checked on the boards, and Lemaire breaks out for Montreal. Lead pass to Shutt. Vadnais has him covered. Shutt falls and then is checked in the play by Murdoch, and it is Vadnais clearing it to the line. Lemaire takes over for Montreal. 4 minutes left in the second period. Canadiens lead 4-2. Engblom trying to work it into the Ranger zone. Does, but Vadnais is back for the New York club. Out on left wing for Greshner. Greshner to center ice. Greshner still with the puck. Slides it in behind the Montreal goal. Chartrand is there. Chartrand along the boards, tied up by Johnstone. Puck still loose. Now it comes to Lambert. He flips it to center, and Maloney has to go back into the New York zone. Dave Maloney, the young Ranger captain, to center ice to Pierre Plante. Plante for Johnstone. Poked it in front, Dryden cleared it. Here's Plante after the puck. Chartrand hammers him into the boards in the corner. Now the puck comes right back to Chartrand for Risebrough. Intercepted and cleared to center by Marois. Here's Robinson. Bumping with Johnstone on the boards. Lambert clears it to center. Marois fired along with it. Dryden sets it up for Chartrand. Now to Lambert. Marois gives it to Johnstone. Now Risebrough, as the Canadiens at this point show their checking skills. Cleared into the Ranger zone. Maloney giving it to Pierre Plante. Lost it to Gainey, and Gainey couldn't control it. Tried to center, but broken up by Marois, and we're going to have a penalty on the play. Marois pulls down Mario Tremblay, and he's going to get a penalty. Live from the Forum in Montreal, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
You know, I did something pretty clever. I bought a Lotto Canada pouch because just like you, it gives me a good shot at winning big. I could already have won one of 4 $1 million prizes or one of 3 $100,000 prizes drawn May 6th. If my number matches a number already drawn, I'm an instant winner. If not, this ticket's still good for the June 3rd draw. 10 $1 million prizes plus thousands and thousands of other cash prizes. That's my Lotto Canada pouch. Clever, huh? Get yours today. We could both become millionaires.
Mario Marois, 2 minutes pour doubler chèque à 17 minutes, 22 secondes.
Here you see it, Jerry.
He hauls down Tremblay just at the side of the Ranger net. And the Canadiens, with 2:38 left, have a power play, and this is a difficult situation again for the Rangers. If they go into the dressing room down 5-2, it's going to be an awful tough third period. There's a shot at Dryden running a little interference. He does a good job of it.
All right, the Canadiens on the power play. Lafleur knocking it down, and he knocked it down with his glove to teammate Serge Savard, and that causes a stoppage in play. At this point in the second period, the Rangers have outshot Montreal 8-6.
Well, they've come on a little stronger in this period. And I notice again Hedberg's out there killing a penalty, which he did so very well in the World Hockey Association.
On the game, Canadiens out shooting the Rangers 21-14. Here's Lemaire. Shoot, he scores! Lemaire surprises Davidson, and it's 5-2 for the Canadiens.
Well, Davidson didn't have himself in position for that shot by Lemaire. I think he was expecting a pass. Lemaire gets the draw back to Savard, and he just fires it. Lemaire just lets one fly. A very difficult angle, and Davidson looked to me to be looking for a drop pass or one across the front of the net. Watch the position Davidson's in here. He didn't get over to the corner of the net in time.
13 seconds after the penalty had been called to Marois, so Lemaire blasts one behind Davidson. Makes you wonder why, when Lemaire had that breakaway back in the first period, he didn't shoot that way.
Why he didn't let him fly. I also wonder why Davidson didn't get over to the corner for letting that shot go, and when he does let it go, if you're not in position, it's going to go by you.
The Lemaire power play goal makes it 5-2 Montreal. Here's Greshner, now to Duguay on right wing. Robinson tying him up, and Jarvis clears it for Gainey, who slides it into the Ranger zone. McEwen back to get it. Now Houle is there for Montreal. Régier Houle turns, tries to work it in front and lost it. And Sheehan starts out of there, overskates it, Gainey shoots one, and Davidson just got a stick on it. Now Jarvis behind the net. Gets it in front, Davidson fanned on it, but Greshner is there. Oh, and he takes a hit from Gainey, but did clear it into the center ice area. Jarvis flipping one into the Ranger zone, and Greshner takes over. On left wing to Hickey. Lead pass broken up by Lemaire. He feeds to Lambert. Greshner takes him out of the play. Sheehan a pass to Duguay. Robinson intercepting. Over to Lambert. Lambert looks for Robinson, but it's broken up at the defense by McEwen, and Duguay comes back on right wing. Here's Duguay around the defenseman Chartrand, but Robinson was coming back and cleared it away. Tremblay trying to get it out. Esposito to Hickey at the side of the net. Robinson clears it away, and here's Mario Tremblay. To center ice to Lambert. 1:05 left in the period. Lambert trying to work around Maloney. And Maloney drapes him in against the boards. In comes Tremblay. And we have just 59 seconds left in the second period.
Well, the only indication we have, Dan, of a line matchup tonight is Scotty Bowman appears to want to have Jacques Lemaire out against Phil Esposito. I noticed in the second period, every time Espo's been out on the ice, Lemaire's been out there.
We talked about a check that Bob Gainey handed out on that previous shift. Here's a look at it.
Oh, this is a good check, and that's the kind of a check you like to see with the sticks down and a good put the shoulder into Greshner.
In this period, the Canadiens have scored twice. As a matter of fact, the Canadiens, after falling behind 2-0 on goals by Hedberg and Duguay for the Rangers, have scored 5 in a row. Lambert, Lafleur, and Gainey in the first period, and Schutt and Lemaire here in the second. Here's Dave Maloney for Badney. Around on the boards for Dave Maloney to Badney again to Murdoch on right wing. Risebrow intercepting, centers to Gainey, and he takes a check from Dave Maloney in front of the net. That's what you call clearing out the slot area. Engblom flips one in. Here's Maloney, number 26, the oldest of the two Maloney brothers on the Rangers, to his younger brother, Don. Here's Don Maloney taken out of the play by Savard, and Poole cleared it to center for Montreal. 25 seconds left in the period. McEwen for the Rangers to Vadnais. Carl Vadnais has a look, headmans it to Esposito. Esposito trying to go around Engblom, centered one, and Dryden was on his knees to cover up and hold on with 9 seconds left in the second period.
Don Maloney on that Phil Esposito line, he got called up from the minors late in the season, and he's played extremely well. And watching him tonight, he doesn't appear to be a great skater, but he gets the job done, and his greatest asset is in the corners where he goes in, lays off, and comes up with the puck many more times than he doesn't.
Esposito is centering a line with Don Maloney on left wing, Murdoch on right wing. Canadians have Doug Jarvis, their face-off specialist, out to take this draw against Esposito. Jarvis with Tremblay and Lambert, the Canadiens forward line. And Jarvis does the job, gets the draw to Robinson. Robinson firing it around, held in by McEwen, shoots one. Robinson was there to block it. And that is the end of the second period, with the Rangers coming very close. And Robinson had to come out and make a good block out in front of the net by about 15 feet. Shots on goal in the second period. 15 for the New York Rangers, or 15 in the game for the Rangers, 23 for Montreal in the period. 9 shots for the Rangers, 8 for the Montreal Canadiens. And so the score at the end of the second period, the Montreal Canadiens 5 and the New York Rangers 2.
What's the great name in sports? For over 100 years, the name Spalding has been found wherever great athletes meet to test their skills. When you want sports equipment that lets you be your best, choose Spalding, the great name in sports. If your engine isn't starting on cue, put in a fresh set of Champion spark plugs at least once a year. Champion in your engine can make beautiful music together. Get started with Champion.
One of the places where we can start to create jobs right now in Canada is in the housing industry, because construction was a field where last year unemployment was as high as 20%. Our mortgage deductibility proposal will help an awful lot of Canadians buy new homes. That means jobs in the housing industry, in the furniture industry, in the construction materials industry. It's a practical way to get the economy growing and to put people to work.
On May 22nd, vote Progressive Conservative. Give the future a chance.
The Canadiens lead the New York Rangers 5-2 after 2 periods. It was 3-2 Montreal at the end of 1. The scoring in the second period, 2 Montreal goals, Steve Schutt, and then late in the period, Jacques Lemaire on a power play. When I first started to be involved in play-by-play of hockey games with junior hockey, doing some fill-in for a Kitchener broadcast, and Walter Tkachuk was playing for the Kitchener Rangers in those days. I think we called you Tkachuk then, Walt. So we go back a little bit, and I have to ask you for a bit of a comment on tonight's hockey game, which on the scoreboard and everywhere else seems to be a little different than Sunday's opener, Walt.
Yeah, well, in the first game we took it to them, and tonight they must have got a pretty good pep talk to across the road there. And they're out there to throw the puck in, quick shifts. They're not giving us a chance to start, and we're going to have to try to at least win one period tonight just to get some momentum going when we go back to New York.
You had the 2-0 lead, and I wondered if maybe things started to turn around when they got what was a very fortunate goal, a goal by Lambert that bounced through the goaltender's legs on the deflection.
Well, no, I don't know if that was the case. I think maybe we scored those 2 goals too quickly. We might have thought it was going to be an easy game, and as it happens, Montreal is such a strong club, they just come back at you twice as hard, you know, and we're going to have to pull up our boots, or else we're going to be behind 10-2 by the end of the goddamn period.
You fellas must have got a pep talk of your own, though. Did you not expect the Canadiens to be a different hockey club?
Yeah, well, we figured it'd be coming out a lot harder, and they sure did. We're going to have to try to get back on track again, or else it's going to be a tough series.
Well, I think it's going to be a tough series no matter what, because both teams are playing so well. You know, you hear so many reports from New York about how you fellas are loose, you're carefree. Is it really as loose and carefree as some of those press reports make out?
Yeah, the team is very relaxed. Freddie Shiro is a relaxed man, and he doesn't get excited, and it sort of rubs off on us, and we don't seem to get as excited. In between periods, he'll come in and tell us what we have to do, what we're doing wrong as a unit. He doesn't cut anybody up as individuals, and he really helps the whole team that way.
Walt, we're going to show in just a few minutes the highlights of the 1972 Cup Final, yourselves and the Bruins. You're the only player left on the Rangers from that team. You must have felt like Mr. Lonely when they all started to disappear. You've had some tough days in New York, but this has been a happy season for you. What's
yeah, it sure is this year. Last year, we just started putting a little bit together. We made the playoffs, and with the new management we got, they seem to get everybody playing as a unit, and it's working out very nice, and it's fun playing hockey again, as I said to one reporter last night.
Well, one of the big reasons for the turnaround is certainly the improved play of Walt Tkachuk. Thanks, Walt, and the best of luck in the playoffs.
Thank you very much.
Walter Tkachuk of the Rangers. The Canadiens lead the Rangers 5-2 after 2 periods. Coming up next, a look at the 1972 finals between the Rangers and the Boston Bruins when Stanley Cup 79 continues in just a moment.
When I was growing up in this country, owning a home was taken pretty much for granted. For many today, it's a dream. The people at Scotiabank believe in dreams. Dreams and hard-working people. If you've got a new home in your future, see the people at Scotiabank. When it comes to your dream, they've got everything you need.
Scotiabank, just around the corner, right around the world. Scotiabank.
Nobody can do it like McDonald's can.
Nobody else in this whole land. Nobody can do it like McDonald's can. Everybody always do it. Nobody can do it like. Away!
What's a guy like me doing ironing shirts? It's not so hard. I got a GE self-cleaning iron that uses most tap water and flushes itself to help stop brown spotting. And a self-cleaning valve to help prevent clogging. Not bad, eh? Listen, if my wife can paint a wall, I can iron a few shirts.
Yeah, whenever the walls need painting.
The self-clean, too. Cleans itself to last twice as long as ever before.
Darling.
From Canadian General Electric.
Rangers are Stanley Cup Finals now, counting this year only 3 times since they last won the Cup in 1939. The last time was 1972 when they met the Boston Bruins. We're going to show you some highlights from that series now. A lot of familiar names and faces as you watch. The Boston Garden was the locale for Game 1 of the 1972 Stanley Cup Final between the Bruins and the New York Rangers. On the way to the final, the Bruins had eliminated Toronto and St. Louis. The Rangers had beaten Montreal and Chicago. Game 1 turned into a wild scoring affair. The Rangers opened things early in the first period on this goal by Dale Rolfe. And the goals came in bunches after that. After that opening New York goal, the Bruins scored 5 straight on Ed Giacomin. Stanfield and Sanderson had singles, and Ken Hodge scored 3 times. It looked like a Boston root. But the Rangers didn't quit. Just past the halfway mark of the second period, Rod Gilbert scored on Jerry Cheevers on a New York power play. But the Bruins still led 5-2 at the end of the second period. Emil Francis's Rangers mounted a great comeback as the third period got underway. At 1:56, it was Vic Hadfield scoring from Kachuk and Gilbert. At 7:48, the Rangers pulled to within a goal. Walt Kachuk scoring from a faceoff, unassisted. At 9:17, New York tied the game. Bruce, especially after Wayne Cashman's goal from line mates Hodge and Esposito, gave the Bruins an early 1-0 lead. Still in the first period, Dale Rolfe scores from Kachuk and Fairbairn, and the game is tied 1-1. But a power play goal by Ken Hodge moves Boston into a 2-1 lead at the end of the first period. It stayed that way into the third period until Bobby Rousseau became the hero for the Rangers. Here, Rousseau ties the game at 2:56, Park and McGregor assisting. Then New York takes the lead. Ted Irvin setting up Rousseau at 12:45. And much to the dismay of Boston fans, the Rangers hang on to win 3-2. Emil the Cat and his Rangers were back home for Game 6. Boston coach Tom Johnson started Cheevers again, and Francis stayed with Gilles Villemure, who had starred in Game 5. In the first period, Bobby Orr opens the scoring for Boston, Hodge and Busick assisting on a power play. It stayed 1-0 until the third period. Then Wayne Cashman from Orr and Esposito made it 2-0 on another Bruin power play, and Cashman put it away for the Bruins with another goal at 18:11. Cheevers stopped all 33 Ranger shots fired his way. The Bruins win the clinching game 3-0. The Rangers fail again in their bid to bring the Stanley Cup back to New York. That is part of the game, I guess, that Phil Esposito and Carol Vadday are now playing for the Rangers. The next time they reach the Stanley Cup final. Bobby Orr won the Conn Smythe Trophy that year, and Bobby will be joining our broadcast crew for Games 3 and 4 of this series Thursday and Saturday nights at Madison Square Garden, New York. Dan Kelly and Jerry Pinder standing by with some highlights. The Canadiens lead 5-2 after 2 periods. We'll return with the Stanley Cup playoffs in just a moment.
In the world of Amway, this could be you.
You know, we never had the money to feel really independent until we discovered Amway. Started part-time.
We're earning extra income as Amway distributors, bringing others into it.
We run it. We're our own boss.
And being more independent is the best security.
When someone wants to tell you about Amway, listen and get the whole story.
With the world of Amway, you can do it too.
You said you'd teach me the TV repair business. That's what you said. In 2 years, I've worked on every color set, but never Hitachi. Never.
One more try, kid. Okay, we'll ask right here. TV repair, ma'am. We've come to check your set. No charge.
Oh, no. We've got a Hitachi. Who needs service?
Kid, promise me, if you ever get inside a Hitachi, come back and tell me all about it.
Steel, the powerful muscle behind the Uniroyal steel-belted radio, the tire that's built with 2 steel belts for strength. Micro-tested for long tire life. The Uniroyal steel-belted radio, steel for strength, micro-tested for long tire life. Uniroyal, the wheels of steel.
The Montreal Canadiens 5 and the New York Rangers 2 as we go into the third period, and Steve Shutt and Jacques Lemaire scoring for Montreal in that period, Jerry, and Shutt was very prominent.
Boy, was he ever. Danny Gallivan said we're going to see the Shutt show here, and we're going to get some highlights of Shutt. I believe this is his breakaway, and you see Big Davidson sprawling and making a good save. The puck hits the goalpost here, and Greshner comes in to save a goal. But again, the great speed of Steve Shutt puts him in the clear, and in he goes on a breakaway.
This time, Mr. Shutt doesn't miss.
No, I don't think he does. The Ranger defenseman tries to hit Esposito, comes around the net and up the right side of the ice, never has good control as Shutt moves in to steal the puck. And Davidson makes the original stop here. The puck comes up high, Shutt's pushed over, and the puck hits him and goes in the net off him. A good play by Steve Shutt to cut in front of the net.
So, close-in try, and it results in a goal, and then Shutt, a little bit later, really blasted one that gave Davidson some problems.
Boy, did he ever. Watch this shot. He just rears back and lets it fly, and Davidson again makes a tremendous save. It's going so fast, he hardly gets time to get his glove up, and the shot actually knocks Davidson over. But again, an indication of, here's another slow motion shot of it. Watch Davidson. He hardly gets time to get his glove in position, and you think that puck isn't labeled for the top corner of the net.
So Shutt, as we mentioned, very prominent in the second period, and as a result of the goal by Shutt and one by Lemaire, the Montreal Canadiens are leading 5-2. I guess we have no more time. Third period as the teams are coming back on the ice. Live from the Forum in Montreal, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Quaker State Motor Oil helps cars last.
Quaker State gives my truck real protection on the hottest days and helps it start on the coldest mornings, too.
Quaker State, that's the protection I want for stop-and-go city driving. I've been driving this car for over 5 years. Use nothing but Quaker State in it.
Quaker State Motor Oil helps cars last.
Maybe that's why it's the best-selling motor oil in North America.
A tough national government is there to serve different needs for you than your regional and provincial governments.
We're there to speak with confidence for the future of this country. We're there to speak for the good of all Canadians. We're there to make sure that they have equality of opportunity. We're there to make sure that the laws respect the individualities of Canadians. And we're there to make sure that Canada in the world will remain a strong, united country.
We need tough leadership to grow. A leader must be a leader. Support Prime Minister Trudeau.
Well, the Rangers, Hedberg and Duguay scoring in the first part of the game. Then Lambert for Montreal. Lafleur tied it at 12:24 the first. Gainey gave the Canadiens the lead at 16:27. Second period, Shutt and Lemaire scoring, and it's 5-2 Montreal. Shots on goal in the game to this point. The Canadiens outshooting the Rangers 23-15. Dan Kelly with Jerry Pinder, Dick Irvin and Danny Gallivan at the Forum in Montreal, and here we go with period 3, and the Canadiens with a 5-2 lead as they attempt to tie up the series. It's shot in by Savard. Badney back for the New York Rangers, cleared to Vickers on left wing. He headmans it to Kachuk, but Savard is there to intercept. Flips it back in, Badney breaking it up. Here's number 5, Badney. For Dave Maloney. Lead pass to Kachuk, who tips it down into the Canadian zone. Robinson is there to try and shoot it out. Gainey then flattened by Badney. And Gainey winds up falling on top of the puck. And the faceoff is going to be on the Montreal Canadiens end of the rink.
This
as
is the
we
first
look at
time, there's a shot of Freddie Shero looking a little concerned, but this is the first time in the playoffs this year that the Rangers have had 5 goals scored against them, and I think that's very significant. We also have some times there, Dan, if you want to...
Yeah, the two busiest men of the evening. Badney of the Rangers in the first 2 periods played 19 minutes, 51 seconds. Robinson, 19 minutes and 16 seconds for Montreal. Here is Vickers from the side trying to clear it on the boards. Digging in is Hedberg. He's tied up and pinned against the boards by Robinson. And we'll have a face-off in the Montreal zone. Jerry, with a 3-goal lead in a Stanley Cup playoff game such as the Canadiens have, what's their strategy in this period? To sit back and make no mistakes?
Well, basically, yes. They want to keep dumping the puck out of their zone, and they want to watch the dangerous Rangers. Players like Hedberg, Esposito, Murdoch, guys like that. They want to make sure they don't give them any good shots on the net.
Here's Kachuk against Jarvis. Dryden plays the puck off the boards to Gainey. Racing after it is Jarvis at a 2-on-1 break for Montreal. Poole to Jarvis, and he couldn't control it at the edge of the crease. Around on the boards. Vickers, number 8 for the Rangers, to Hedberg. Hedberg to Vickers, who tries to work around Savard. Flips one in front. Dryden is there to grab it and now clear the puck himself to center ice. And Marois races back for the Rangers. Early in the third period, here's Duguay, number 10. He's a speedster. Lets a quick wrist shot go. Dryden turns it aside with his stick. And Savard has it for Montreal. Fires one in. Shutt digs in after it. McEwen gets to it first, and as he does, icing is called against Montreal. And the faceoff will be in the Canadian zone. From the Forum in Montreal, this is Stanley Cup 79.
Any car wax gives a good shine, but it's the extras in Turtle Extra that make it the longest lasting car wax we've ever made. Extra polymers and amino functional silicones to bounce back the sun. Extra waxes to protect against dirt and mud. These extra ingredients make Turtle Extra the longest lasting car wax we've ever made. You get a shine that lasts and lasts and lasts. Turtle Extra, liquid or new soft paste.
The two coaches, Scotty Bowman on the left, Fred Shero on the right. Face-off coming up in the Canadian zone. Over the first two periods, the big shooter for the Rangers was Duguay with 4 shots. Lafleur and Guinea each had 4 for Montreal. Here are the Rangers. Hickey trying to center one. Pat Hickey gets it to Sheehan in front to Duguay, who couldn't get a stick on it. Vadnais moving in. Vadnais flips it in front. The Rangers fan on it. Another try. David, or at least Dryden crawls across, grabs it, and after a close call, a face-off coming up in the Montreal zone.
Right here, as Sir Savard looks on from the Montreal bench. Ken Dryden is changing the boos to cheers, Jerry Pinder. They were on him at the start of the game.
Well, watch the save he makes on Pat Hickey here. He's down, but he does make the stop. And Dryden hasn't been too bad tonight after he got over his little bit of a shaky start.
There's Engblom loses it. Hickey centered it, but Langway is there to clear it away. For Tremblay. Broken up by Greshner. Now Sheehan dropping it back for Vadnais. The Rangers trail 5-2. They get up to center ice. Sheehan checked by Lambert and Rysbrough. Flips it ahead for Montreal. It's into the Ranger zone. Davidson setting it up for Vadnais. On right wing for Duguay. He couldn't control it. Langway squared it. Greshner intercept for New York to Duguay. Duguay tied up by Langway. And Lambert beats to Lemaire. Number 25, Lemaire, pulled down by Sheehan, and Vadnais comes up with the puck. At center ice to Duguay. Duguay gets away from a check into Sheehan. Sheehan moving in, shoots one. Dryden, a pad save, rebound. Hickey was there to poke at it, but Dryden covered up and held on.
The Canadians better not start firing and falling back, Jerry. You know, it's that time of year when a lot of strange things can happen, and Kenny Dryden has had to be very, very sharp in the first 2.5 minutes of this third period.
Well, here's a replay. Watch the shot Bobby Sheehan lets go. An excellent shot. It's right down low. And again, Dryden's right there. And boy, if Montreal starts laying back in this period with the shooters the New York Rangers have now, they're going to be in real trouble.
Face off again in the Canadian zone. The Canadians, Lemaire getting the draw, and Robinson, number 19, takes over, giving it to Shutt. Shutt crosses the red line, fired a long one in. Davidson sets it up for Dave Maloney. Around on the boards to Murdoch. Back to Dave Maloney. He couldn't get away from Shutt. Shutt shoots one. Davidson kicked out his right leg for a pad save, and the Rangers clear it to center. Shutt flipping it back in for Lafleur, and it's offside at the Ranger blue line.
Well, the Rangers no doubt have been the big team story of the playoffs this year. This is the first time, and this is their 15th playoff game, that they have been down in a game by more than 1 goal. And you know, if you count the 14 previous games on regulation time, as we look at that chance for Steve Shutt, they weren't beaten. They lost 3 of their first 14 playoff games, every one of them in overtime. Regular season, Dan, they'd have been on a 14-game unbeaten streak.
Here's Lemaire with a long shot. That's nowhere near the Ranger goal. Rangers get it to Esposito. Rink wide to Murdoch. Murdoch in against Robinson, and Robinson stands his ground and breaks it up. Here's Dave Maloney to Murdoch. Leaves for Esposito. Quick wrist shot and a glove save by Dryden. And the whistle blows, and the faceoff will be in the Montreal zone.
Well, Walkichuk had a pretty good theory as I talked to him, Jerry, in the intermission, he said, we've got to win the period. He said, we don't want to go back to New York. You know, that was, he felt that would give them a lift. You know, saying they lost the game, he still felt they would like to win the period. I guess that would be a fact.
That's a good philosophy. If they win the period, they certainly have a chance to win the hockey game. But even more importantly, they go back to New York with a little more confidence, because Montreal really did take control of that play in the first and second period.
There's Dickie Moore, two-time NHL scoring champion, Hall of Famer. Played for the Canadiens, the Leafs, and the St. Louis Blues. Remember him in that playoff, Dan, the first year of expansion?
And another fellow by the name of Doug Harvey.
That's right. The goaltender wasn't bad either.
Mr. Glenn Hall, Mr. Goalie. Here's Greshner at the point. Shoots, and Dryden kicks it out neatly. Lupien flipping it on the boards for Gainey, who got it to center. Pierre Pointe back for the Rangers. Leaves for Greshner. Over to McEwen. Mike McEwen, a good puck handler, comes to center. Fires it into the Canadian zone, and they rule it. Pointe was in ahead of the play and offside of the Canadiens' blue line.
Chartrand on the Montreal bench. We've heard on the Bunny Larocque case, and Bunny injured in the pregame warm-up. He was to have started this game. He was taken to hospital. X-rays negative. He will stay in hospital overnight for observation of a possible slight concussion, but should be able, as it looks now, to join the team on its trip to New York. And there is Richard Sevigny, who hastily got into his uniform and is the backup goaltender for Montreal.
Greshner loses it to Mondeau, who cleared it into the Ranger zone. Davidson sets it up for Greshner. Checked by Napier, and Esposito cleared it away for New York. Here's Pointe. Gets it into the Montreal zone. Lupien is there to Napier. He cleared to center ice, and Greshner goes back for the Rangers. To McEwen. Now McEwen turning to get away from Napier. Mike McEwen to Greshner. He flipped it to center. Gainey knocks it down, speeds in on left wing, drops it to Napier. To be scored! Napier! And it's 6-2 for Montreal.
They give it away to Gainey, and watch the play Gainey makes to Napier. Napier doesn't have a whole lot on that shot, but he sure picks the spot down low on the right-hand corner on Davidson.
That's what I keep saying, giveaways and putting the knock on a player who loses the puck, but let's, you know, you've got to say something for the fellas who are forechecking on a play. Because that's the name of the game.
Yeah, and Gainey is the best in the league at this, in forechecking, and he's so darn quick. If you give him an opening, look out, he'll get that puck and he'll get the puck into position, and he can also shoot it if he has the opportunity.
I thought Gainey also anticipated well. Right. He was ready for the play almost before it happened. And the Canadiens have a 4-goal lead as Vadnais has it in his own zone for the Rangers. Dave Maloney now passing it to Vadnais, falls down, Risebrough intercepts, to Hull, shoots, and Davidson a stick save. And Kachuk takes over. Rangers get it to center. Chartrand for Montreal. Flips it into the Ranger zone. Maloney is there to Vadnais. Back to Maloney. He cleared it near the Montreal line. Robinson is there. Robinson cleared it, now carried back in. Here's Hedberg, quick shot and a glove save by the Canadiens goaltender Dryden. Risebrow to Jarvis at center. In across the line, and Hull went in ahead of the play. Not really his fault. Jarvis having trouble handling the pass.
Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
If you ever wanted to look like $1 million, Ultra Blend. Ultra Blend, only by Arrow.
You know, it's really hot in there, but Ultra Blend is mostly cotton. It's cool, and it's really comfortable, you know?
Look like $1 million in Ultra Blend by Arrow.
Hey, that's $1 million over 3 seasons.
Yeah, like most coaches, whether they're down, whether they're up, Freddie Shero doesn't change expression back of that bench.
Here's Engblom firing one in for Montreal. Back is Marois around on the boards to his defense partner McEwen. To Marois. Headmanning it up the middle for Sheehan. Lead pass on right wing to Duguay, but Langway had skated him off on the play. Engblom back, and as he touches it, Icing called against the Rangers, and the face-off back in the New York zone.
Rangers have caught up in the shots on goal department, 26-21 overall. As we look at Rod Langway, pressed into service in game 1 of this series when Guy Lapointe was injured in the 7th game against Boston, and the young fella from the University of New Hampshire via New England, who's acquitted himself quite well, earned a star in the Sunday opener.
Not only was a hockey player at New Hampshire, but a middle linebacker as a football player. Was he a good football player?
I'll tell you how good in a minute.
Oh, we don't have time. Here is a loose puck along the boards to Langway at the point. Shoots one. Davidson kicked out his right pad to make a save. Tremblay and Marois fight for it. Lambert comes up with it to Mondeau. He dropped it back, and Langway had to back up on the play, and as a result, the puck comes down into the Canadian zone. Lambert flipping it ahead for Tremblay. McEwen beats him to it. Got it to center. Lambert clearing one into the Ranger zone. And McEwen feeds to Duguay. Knocked away from Sheehan. Sheehan then got it near the line. Lupia flipping it out. And it's Mike McEwen, number 27. To Marois. Into the center ice area to Esposito. Rangers trail 6-2 as Esposito gives it to Duguay. Duguay with a slap shot high and wide. Lafleur to Lemire. Here's Lemire down by himself. Trying to move around Badney, and Badney is there to knock it away and knock it up over the glass. And that'll give Dick Irvin a chance to tell us how good a football player Mr. Langway was.
Well, he says that his coaches in New Hampshire were told by NFL scouts that if he wanted to go as a football player into a pro career, he'd have been drafted in the 2nd round in the NFL. He was that good. But he chose hockey.
And there is the big Canadian defenseman. Face-off in the Ranger zone. Greshner, number 4, behind the goal, being forechecked hard by Schutt. Greshner then cleared it. Lupia for the Canadians fired it over onto the opposite wing. Lafleur couldn't get it, neither could Lemire. Now Lafleur does have it momentarily, but Greshner for the Rangers takes over. Fires it into the Montreal zone. Right, cleared it away on the left wing side. And here's Lemire leading a 3-on-2 Canadians break. Lemire looks for Lafleur. Fires in front of Lafleur, couldn't handle the pass. Lafleur to the corner, centered, and Davidson and Badney cleared away. Badney over on the left wing side. They work it to Esposito, now to Murdoch. To Greshner. Greshner trying to go around Lupia. Murdoch holding it in. Puck loose and cleared away by Savard. Canadian Steve Schutt loses the stick, attempting to hold it against the boards. Don Maloney checked in. Here's Murdoch in front of Esposito. Banned out of it. Lafleur takes over. For Montreal, Lafleur cleared it. Esposito getting it behind the net. Maloney is there, and Serge Savard for the Canadians trying to clear it. Greshner shoots one. That hit Lupia's skate in front of the net. And Lemire for Lafleur on the 2-on-1 Montreal break. Only Badney back. The pass to Schutt. Trying to feed it through, and Lafleur was too closely checked by Murdoch. Rangers come back. Greshner cleared it to center, and Robinson fired it right back down. And as Badney goes back and touches it, icing is called against the Canadiens.
This is Stanley Cup 79 from the Forum in Montreal.
If you go for the smooth taste of a Golden, never take it for granted, or someone else may take it for good.
11 minutes, 37 seconds left in the third period. Montreal 6, the Rangers 2. Most goals the Rangers have given up in a playoff game this year. Here's a quick shot by Marois, wide of the net. Napier starts out. Napier flips one into the Ranger zone. Dave Maloney back picking it up. Trying to clear it out. Robinson at center ice, giving it to Chartrand. Chartrand for Montreal. Upended on the play, but got it to Napier, and the Canadians clear it in. Rangers are there. Here's Johnstone. Got it to center. Robinson cleared it on the boards. Gainey dropping it back for Robinson. Return pass to Gainey. He poked it by the defenseman Marois, but Marois took him out of the play, and Dave Maloney gets the puck. Out on right wing for Ulf Nielsen. Left wing pass to Blunt. Blunt checked to the play. Risebrough couldn't get it out of there. Napier tied up by Dave Maloney in the corner, and as Maloney falls, he falls on top of the puck.
Quite a switch in games involving these teams. The Rangers won 3 out of 4 during the regular season. Montreal's only win was 1-0. And in the 4 games between the two teams, the Canadiens scored only 7 times on New York goaltending. Wayne Thomas 1 game, Davidson 1 game, and Sotar 2 games. Here they have 6 tonight in this one.
Well, and Davidson's played well just to keep it down to 6, Dick.
Now, you would say, Dick, that this has been a complete reversal of form for both the Rangers and the Canadiens from what we saw in Game 1.
Funny how Walt Kachuk's words about they weren't ready, the Canadiens came out so fast. That's exactly what Rick Middleton said in an interview I did with him after a period when the Canadiens came out and had a big lead on the Bruins in the 5th game of that series after Boston had won the 2 games at home.
Well, meaning or the thing we get from that story is 'tis not easy. Here comes Jarvis on left wing. Jarvis flipping it in behind the net. Davidson out of the goal. Tremblay couldn't pick up and passes on right wing. It hit the referee. Canadians center it. Rangers cleared away and Hedberg, number 15. Trying to work around Langway. Langway uses his middle linebacker's abilities and knocks him out of the play. And then Poole is upended by Greshner as the puck goes down into the Ranger end of the rink. Here's McEwen spinning away from a check. McEwen, long shot. Dryden makes a glove save, and Langway takes over. Cleared it. Here's Poole trying to get it out of the zone. Langway flipped it to center. Kachuk runs into Greshner. Greshner, number 4 for the Rangers. Lost it. Handed it right to Tremblay. Mario Tremblay clearing one in. And McEwen is back for New York. Less than 10 minutes to play in the 3rd period. Canadians leading 6-2 as Vickers tries to get something going for the Rangers. To Kachuk, who got it into the Montreal zone. Lopez there. To Lafleur. Lafleur to Shutt. Shutt on left wing, shoots one, and Davidson a quick glove save. Dave Maloney firing it down the ice for New York. Dryden plays the puck. Feeds it to Lupien. Out on left wing to Shutt. Shutt trying to get it to Lemaire. He did. Lemaire has to circle back. Jacques Lemaire. Around Duguay. Shoots one, and he lets a shot go that takes off and goes up over the glass.
With the score, the Canadiens 6, the Rangers 2. This is Stanley Cup 79.
In the late 1950s, banks weren't in the business of promoting small personal loans. Then one bank made it their business. The bank was Scotiabank, and they're still giving credit where credit is due. If you could use a little help with your dream, whatever your dream, see Scotiabank. They've got everything you need.
Scotiabank, just around the corner, right around the world. Scotiabank.
9 minutes to play in the 3rd period. Montreal leads 6-2. Lambert, Lafleur, Guiney, Shutt, Lemaire, and Napier for Montreal. Hedberg and Duguay for the Rangers. Here's Badney. Kicking the puck along the boards. Fondue gets it and centered for Montreal, but it's broken up by Pat Hickey. Hickey to Sheehan. Sheehan moving in, drops it to Duguay, and it's poked away. And the Canadians come back, led by Napier, number 31. Napier around Badney, shoots off Davidson and over top of the net. Duguay in the corner. Now it's Badney. Trying to sidestep a check. Lost it to Mondeau. Lambert poking it over onto the other wing. But Hickey is there for the Rangers to get it to center. Mondeau firing one back in for Montreal. Dave Maloney for the Rangers. To Duguay, and Robinson is there. Badney for New York. Shoots it around in the boards. Lafleur center to Shutt. Back in, and he slides it just wide. And Duguay cleared it. Robinson shooting. Saved by Davidson on the short side. Here's Lafleur to Robinson. Robinson to Shutt. Deflected. Davidson the save. Shutt band on the rebound. Now it's Lafleur. Flipping one. Shutt in front. Trying to get it to Lemaire. Lemaire back to Shutt. Davidson a pad save. As the Canadians pour the pressure on. And now as Chartrand comes up with the clock, play is called. And a penalty coming up against Canadiens.
Well, there is John Davidson. I tell you, he's down 6-2, but what a show he has just put on with that tremendous pressure. This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Canada's economy, Canada's world position, Canada's future hinges on a clear, well-thought-out position on all issues, including national unity.
And how you're going to react. And if after being leader of the Tory party for 3 years, he hadn't thought his way through in that, you wonder what he has thought his way through on.
We need tough leadership to grow. A leader must be a leader. Support Prime Minister Trudeau.
12 minutes and
Davidson with some superb goaltending on that last flurry, and incidentally, John's dad out in Calgary tonight is celebrating a birthday, and he wanted us to wish our birthday wishes to his dad in Calgary. A penalty on the last play to Shutt for cross-checking, so Montreal is short-handed. Rangers trailing 6-2, clear it in. Here is Savard, trying to get away from Maloney and Murdoch, and Serge Savard does, and moves smartly out of his own zone. He's checked. Murdoch gets it into Esposito, around on the boards to Don Maloney. Maloney being watched by Engblom. Don Maloney to the point to Gressner. He couldn't handle the pass, has to hurry back. Jarvis is on top of him. And Gressner has a tough time, has to clear it over onto the other side, and McEwen takes over, and now Gressner is going to get a penalty for New York, as he, I guess, retaliated against Jarvis.
Jerry, that's the second or third time tonight, as you pointed out earlier, penalties are drawn by the Rangers that were totally unnecessary.
Well, that wasn't a very smart play by Gressner, particularly when you look at the fact they've got a power play. But the position the Montreal Canadiens are in right now is a very good one. They've got a 4-goal lead. Robinson and Savard have been tired over the past games after a tough series with Boston and a tough series with Toronto. And they're in a position now where they can play Lupien, where they can play Chartrand, where they can play Langway. And this is what Scotty Bowman's doing, and he's using his personnel very well. He's giving these guys a little bit of a rest.
And Brian Engblom on the limp over at the Montreal bench area.
Now each team a man short as Chartrand has possession for Montreal. 6:50 left in the third period. Canadiens leading 6-2. Robinson to Houle. Houle feeding it into Tremblay, but McEwen is there for New York. Mike McEwen. Over on right wing for Marois. Marois leading a 3-man rush, and it goes offside at the Montreal blue line.
6:31 left in the third period here in this second game of the Canadiens-Rangers Stanley Cup final. The Canadiens with the 4-goal lead, 6-2. And a reminder that we will be right here in the vicinity of the Statue of Liberty, not very far away at Madison Square Garden for Game 3, Thursday night, broadcast time 7:30 Eastern Time. Bobby Orr joining our broadcast crew.
Each team a man short. Marois flipping one in for the Rangers. Robinson back to get it, skated off by Duguay, and now Chartrand. Out on the left wing side to Houle. He flipped it to center. Duguay is there for New York. Ron Duguay being forechecked by Tremblay, has to drop it off to Marois. Marois clearing it to McEwen. Now Tremblay intercepting. Tremblay in front of him. Houle, Davidson came out and checked Houle. And Houle has been injured on the play. In a collision at the goal crease. And now they come into the goal crease after Marois. But actually it was Davidson.
It was Marois who clipped Houle. Marois went over to apologize to him, and Mario Tremblay wasn't about to have any of that, so he went after Marois. Then the linesman jumped in. Meanwhile, poor Reggie Houle, Jerry, was down on his hands and knees in the goal crease area, and the ensuing scuffle shoved him right over the goal line. I think Houle has been cut.
Well, he got clobbered with Marois' stick, and it's hard to tell whether it was intentional. I really don't think it was. But just after he had that great opportunity, Marois came back late, came through the crease late, and clipped Houle with his stick. As you said, Houle was laying down in the middle of the whole thing. Watch this now. Watch Marois. Well, he had his stick up a little high.
Much too high. That's when Trombley got in on the act. .5:53 left in regulation time, live from the Forum in Montreal, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Bright guy, Tony. When he put a new set of tires on his truck, he decided to go first class and pick the one and only Michelin. Liked Michelin quality so much, put a set on his family wagon. And even on his motorbike. The one and only Michelin.
It's the only tire I'd own.
Michelin.
Well, Mario Trombley gets a roughing penalty at 14:07, and that is the only penalty called as the result of that situation. And Jerry, I think you hit it right in the head. Obviously, the referee could not have seen what the move by Marois on Reggie Houle.
No, he didn't see it because he didn't have his hand up until Trombley moved into the ruckus in front of the net, and that's unfortunate because as we saw in the replay, it did look like Marois maybe had a stick up there intentionally. At this late stage of the game, it doesn't prove much either, Dick. They're down 6-2. There's really no point in doing something like that.
As is often the case, the man who retaliates gets the penalty.
Right. Reminder, we get ready for the late show, Dan, on as hockey games go on Saturday. Make a mention here that Saturday night's fourth game in New York will start at 9 o'clock Eastern time as we again look at what caused the hassle which resulted in the penalty to Mario Trombley and the injury to Reggie Houle.
Rangers now at the man advantage, 4 against 3, but trailing 6-2 as they work it into the Montreal zone. Robinson is on the defense with Savard, and Robinson did boot treatment after that high stick on Houle. Puck into the Canadian zone. Robinson is there, giving it for Savard to Steve Shutt. Each team a man short. Now at this point, Shutt carrying in. Marois breaks it up, cuts behind his own goal. Marois and Shutt are there. Now McEwen for the Rangers to Pierre Plante. He drops it back. McEwen works to center into the Canadian zone. Robinson takes him out, and a quick shot by Johnstone off the glass. Greshner is back on, so the Rangers again have the man advantage. 54 seconds left in Trombley's penalty. Rangers in their own end working it to Greshner. Greshner falls. David cover up back to Greshner to Johnstone. Over on left wing to Maloney. Maloney flipping one in. Dryden is there. Rangers work it in front, but Savard clears it away. Here's Don Maloney. Back to Greshner. Around in the boards to Murdoch. Murdoch trying to get it in front. To the left point to Badney, over to Greshner. Greshner along the boards for Don Maloney. Don Maloney in front. There is a chance by Murdoch, and Dryden a big save on Murdoch. And Savard comes up with the loose puck. Murdoch back to Badney, shoots, and he shot wide. And Jarvis for the Canadiens clears it away just as Trombley comes back on. Davidson sets it up for Badney. 3:45 left in the third period. Badney passing it in on left wing for Vickers. Vickers speeding in. Centered one, Murdoch shoots, and it stopped at the defense. They could hit Risebrow. Back is Napier to Lambert. To Napier, flipping it in front and tipped away, and the Rangers come up with it, and Greshner starts to work it out of the New York zone. Got it to center, Langway takes over there. Shoots it in, and Badney is back after. Badney clearing it to Vickers. Napier tied him up. Now Kachuk and Risebrow jam up and hold it, and the faceoff will be in the Ranger zone.
Looking ahead to that third game in Madison Square Garden, having played there many times, Dan, the ice is always very, very poor. They usually put it in the night before the game, and when the teams skate the day of the game, it's the first time it's been skated on. And it doesn't give the Rangers an advantage to be on home ice. On the other hand, it'll take away some of the Canadian speed because it's very chippy ice. Often it goes through right to the cement, and it just isn't the Canadians' type of ice.
Emil Francis once said when he was in New York that he has seen better ice on the highways of Saskatchewan.
There's no doubt about that.
Puck in behind the New York goal. Dave Maloney is there up the middle to Kachuk. He flipped it into the center ice area. Lambert had it momentarily. Now Marois dropping it back for Maloney. Beats it ahead on right wing, and Langway chases back for Montreal. Langway being forechecked by Hedberg. Works it to Napier. It comes to center. Dave Maloney tried to shoot it back in. Now Engblom flipping one down into the Ranger zone. Dave Maloney is there. Up the middle to Kachuk. Rangers trail 6-2. 2:33 left in the third period. Trying to get away from Ricebrough. Slides one down into the Montreal zone. Riding out of the net to clear it away for Lambert. Shot to center, and Vickers takes over. Marois on right wing for Hedberg. Now to Kachuk. Moving in, shoots one, and Dryden handles that. Leaves it for Lambert. To Langway. Langway on right wing to Tremblay. Tremblay fakes the shot, tries to work around McEwen, who squeezes him out of the play. They push and shove in the corner and hold it there. And with 1:54 left in the third period, and Montreal leading 6-2, the faceoff will be in the Rangers' end of the rink.
Luke Piet out there, he hasn't seen a whole lot of action tonight, but a little bit of action in front of the New York Rangers net. And as I mentioned earlier, Scotty Bowman has used his players very intelligently tonight. I'll bet you if you take a check on Robinson's time, he hasn't played over 30 minutes.
Canadiens with 6 goals. The first time the Montrealers have had 6 goals in the playoffs this year. And as we mentioned earlier, the first time the Rangers have given up 6 in the playoffs. Here is Mondeau behind the Ranger goal, trying to make a play. Duguay tied him up. Mondeau still after it, and McEwen cleared it away. Tremblay. Checked by Hickey. Chartrand at the point, flipping one in. And Greshner is there for the Rangers. Here's Greshner. Out on right wing for Duguay. To Sheehan. Sheehan is checked on the play. Greshner comes up with it, cleared it into the Montreal zone. Chartrand out on right wing to Tremblay. 1:20 left in the third period. Here's Schutt moving in on left wing. Steve Schutt in front, and his shot hit McEwen. Mondeau gets loose from McEwen. He tries to make a play to Lupien at the point. Shooting, and it goes off Greshner and is caught by John Davidson.
Another example there, Dan, of the tremendous game Steve Schutt's played. He had the opportunity with a 2-on-1, and the defenseman went to Pierre Mondeau, and Schutt tried to cut in front of the net and lost the puck in the process. But he's been a great asset to the Canadiens, and in particular to that line of Lemaire and Lafleur. He means so darn much to them because he's such a quick hockey player.
You know, one thing, the Canadiens have scored 6 goals here tonight. They have a pretty good lock on this hockey game. Some people forget that this Montreal club can play fine defense, and they've exhibited that very thoroughly here this evening.
Well, can they ever play good defense?
Into the center ice area for Maloney. Less than a minute to play in this hockey game as Esposito drops it to Murdoch. Shot it to the Canadiens line. Engblom is there for Napier. Napier moving in with a shot that goes wide of the goal. Lambert tried to center. Off of Davidson. Back into the corner for Lambert. Vadnais tying him up. Here's Esposito for New York. Rangers here in the final 30 seconds, trailing by 4 goals. Lambert checked Esposito. Now Murdoch into Maloney. Langway tied him up, and Engblom clears the puck away. Overskated by Lambert. Esposito drops it to Vadnais. His shot hits Lambert, who breaks out on left wing. Lead pass to Ricebrough, and it was too far ahead. And Dave Maloney has it with 8 seconds left. Murdoch couldn't get away from Langway. Langway along the board, bumping with Don Maloney. And the hockey game is over, and the 1979 Stanley Cup Final Series is tied at 1 game apiece. The Canadiens winning here tonight, 6-2. And in the hockey game, Montreal outshooting the New York Rangers, 33-25. And as the series heads for New York for games 3 and 4, Thursday and Saturday night, it is tied at 1 game apiece. In just a moment, our 3-star selection.
Nice of you to have me aboard your private plane, JP.
Not at all. For my very special business associates, it's first class all the way. Miss Hopkins?
Yes, sir. May I offer you some caviar, some cold pheasant with truffles, perhaps?
No, just a golden.
Golden?
Molson Golden, the good, smooth one.
Oh, well, we don't seem to have any golden aboard.
No, golden.
Well, we do have some nice imported. Bill?
Some people will jump at the chance to go for a golden.
Miss Hopkins!
Actually, a lot of people.
Look into a new North American-built Ford or Lincoln Mercury car sold in Canada for advanced technology. The 7 anti-corrosion processes of the DuraGuard system. Pre-coated steel, galvanized steel, phosphate tunnel spray, corrosion-resistant primer, vinyl sealer, vinyl coating, and aluminized wax. The DuraGuard system is backed by a manufacturer's warranty against corrosion perforation. Depend on the DuraGuard system. Protection that's built in right from the start.
At Mutual Life, most of us learn about being a parent the same way you do, firsthand. So we understand your hopes for tomorrow, because we share them. And when you go to buy life insurance for yourself, we know who you're really thinking of, because we know what you know.
Life is a mutual affair.
Hey, du quotidien Montreal Star. Ladies and gentlemen, here are tonight's Molson's 3 stars as selected by Mr. Red Fisher, sports editor at the Montreal Star. La première étoile, the first star, le numéro 19, number 19, Larry Robinson. La deuxième étoile, the second star, Bob Gainey. Et la troisième étoile, the third star, Steve Shutt.
We'll return with Stanley Cup 79 in just a moment.
If you were designing your own lawn tractor, you wouldn't cut corners. You'd design it to last with more features than bargain machines. Rugged, precision-engineered components, giant mowing capacity with bagging option, and a safe, comfortable ride. You'd design a John Deere 108 or 111. A lot more machine for your money. John Deere lawn and garden tractors with full dealer servicing. Remember, nothing runs like a Deere.
Hey, Blades, try taking out Mattel's new electronic hockey.
Oh, yeah?
But you gotta be quick. The defense has a built-in thinking computer.
So what?
You control the puck over the blue line, your check, cut back, shoot. Blades cuts left, the defense stays with him, fakes, the goalie's out of the crease, shoot.
Wow, what a save. Who's in there?
New Mattel Hockey, the fastest, most exciting sports game ever from Mattel Electronics.
I said, who's in there?
A lot of liberals and conservatives believe that Ed Broadbent would make the best prime minister. They say if Ed Broadbent were the leader of their party, he'd win by the biggest landslide in Canadian history. People don't have the same kind of nagging doubts about Ed Broadbent they have about Trudeau and Clark. Maybe it's time to put aside the old liberal and conservative myths and simply vote for the best man. If enough people did that, Ed Broadbent would be the next Prime Minister of Canada.
This has been a paid political announcement by the NDP.
6-2 Montreal win, a couple of personal comebacks, if you will. Larry Robinson under a lot of fire for his performance in Game 1, the first star in this game. And Ken Dryden, as we mentioned, turned the jeers to cheers as this one moved along as he took over from Bunny Larocque, who was injured in the pregame warm-up. Steve Shutt, a goal and 2 assists tonight, the third star of the game. Congratulations, Steve. Things turned around a little bit for you out there tonight.
Well, yeah.
Much better.
I think we went in there and we forechecked them instead of them forechecking us tonight.
Right.
And I think that's what we have to keep on doing.
That's exactly what Walkachuk said you were doing to them in the second intermission. We have a look at the goal that you had. You had the chance on Davidson earlier in the period, didn't score. And this is the one where the pass goes to Esposito, off his stick to you, and you move in.
I think I wound up putting this one off my head.
It's hard to tell.
I don't know how it went. I have no idea. Bang.
Bounced up.
Yeah, oh, I hit it again.
All right.
Well, it's in.
That's
It's not a pitcher goal, but it counts anyways.
I said to Steve, the Rangers outshot you the last 2 periods, he said, but they didn't outscore us. Steve, one thing that happened in this game, maybe you can tell us, because nobody really knows yet, the Bunny LaRock situation. Exactly what was that going on?
Poor Bunny, he waits around to get his big chance, and he finally gets it, and we're in the warm-up, and it was near the end of the warm-up, and the ice was pretty chippy. And Dougie Riseborough went and took a shot, and just as he shot it, the puck sort of went on its edge a little, and it was a high riser. It just caught him right in the head, and I think he's got a slight concussion. So I put him right out of the game.
Yeah, that was a tough break, but Kenny came through, obviously, as you say. All right, going into New York now, you fellas had trouble. You scored 7 goals on them in 4 games this year. You get 6 tonight. You feel a little looser now after that. Was there a letdown after the Bruins series, really, going into the opener?
Well, I think it was more a change in style. You know, we were used to the Bruins, which are a little bit slower club, but a lot more physical. And after playing, you know, seven games of that style, and then coming up against the Rangers, and you know, they were a lot faster, and they were a lot better with the puck. Yeah. And I think it took us a little while to get used to their style.
Well, you better get used to it even more. You did well.
Better.
Thank you, Steve. Congratulations on a good game. Steve Shutt, 3rd star in tonight's game. Now back upstairs to the broadcast booth.
Thanks again, Dick Irvin. Jerry Pinder, any final thoughts on the Canadiens tying this series up?
Well, they've still got a long road before they can win the Stanley Cup. They have to go back into New York, and 2 games there. They have to win at least 1, preferably both. And as I mentioned, the ice doesn't really give the Rangers a home advantage. However, on the, you know, you look at the other side of the coin, and it hurts the Montreal Canadiens because they're such a speedy club. They're quick. They hit the holes very, very well. And I feel that the Canadiens are going to have a little bit of trouble on that ice.
And you just know that crowd in the Big Apple is going to be rooting a little bit for the Rangers.
Oh, they're wild fans. They really are, and they get even wilder in the playoffs.
I heard Steve Shutt mention it. We mentioned it late in the game. The Canadiens scored 6 goals, and sometimes you forget about it, but the Canadiens forechecked. Robinson played an outstanding game, and defensively, Montreal was very alert.
Yes, they were superb defensively, and don't forget they won the game 6-2, but it could have been 10-2 without Davidson in there.
And this game with Dryden making the saves as the game went on could give Dryden some big confidence. Back downstairs to Dick Irvin.
All right, gentlemen, well, a reminder that Game 3 of this series will be played in Madison Square Garden in New York Thursday night, and we'll be on the air at 7:30 Eastern Time. Bobby Orr joining our broadcast crew for the games in New York, Games 3 and 4. Along with the goal by Steve Shutt tonight, the Canadiens got goals from Lambert, Lafleur, Gainey, Lemaire, and Napier. For the Rangers, it was Hedberg and Duguay scoring early in the first period to give the New Yorkers a 2-0 lead, but the Canadiens came back and won the game 6-2. Shots on goal in the 3rd period were even at 10 apiece. The Canadiens outshot the Rangers overall by a margin of 33-25. So this one's shaping up like a pretty good Stanley Cup final, and they are all even as we head to New York now for Game 3 on Thursday night, 7:30, our broadcast time, Eastern Daylight. Until then, this is Dick Irvin at the Forum in Montreal, bidding you a pleasant good night for Stanley Cup 79.
CBC Hockey Night in Canada, brought to you by Ford Motor Company on behalf of your Ford and Mercury dealers from coast to coast. The Bank of Nova Scotia with nearly 1,000 branches across Canada to serve you. Canadian General Electric, progress for people since 1882. And by Molson, Canada's name in beer since 1786. Brewers of Molson Export Ale. Hockey Night in Canada is protected by copyright and is intended solely for the enjoyment and entertainment of our viewing audience. Unauthorized use in whole or in part without written permission is expressly forbidden.